Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. Tonight, we are talking about the 16 children, one Ohio home, and now the case is getting even bigger. Tonight, we are covering the latest update in the Ciders family case out of Hamden, Ohio, a case that authorities say 16 children were found during a search warrant for adults are now facing very serious charges of endangerment. And now the story has taken some major turns. Now, Vinton County says that the case is stretching its resources. One defendant, Gary Ciders Jr., has been released for medical senior, has been released for medical care under monitoring. We have a lot to talk about tonight. I got a lot to update you on the other side of this.
I've walked through storms in scars and grace.
Sing it if you know
Smile
it.
through pain with a painted face.
How you doing, Pearls?
They called me too loud, too much, too strong. But honey, that's the reason I belong. Every scar's a scripture, every tear's a hymn. I found my worth where the light grew dim. They tried to break me, but here's a twist. I turned my pain into a clenched fist. I'm an unbreakable woman, born of fire and pearl. I shine like grace in a reckless world.
Little
You
junior
can test my
Caroline.
faith, you can shake my plan, but I'll rise again. Just watch me I've been whispered about and written off, judged by the gloss, not the cost. But God don't build weak hearts from gold. He made me fierce and he made me bold. I bend, I pray, I roll, I rise with mascara, tears and battle cries. Don't need your crown, I forge my own. From ashes, honey, I build my throne. I'm in a unbreakable soul, dressed in truth and pearls. The fire don't scare me, it lights my world. You can doubt my voice, but you'll hear my name. I'm holy and hood, and I'm done with shame. For everyone called too much, too loud, too real. You're not to anything. You're exactly what power looks like. I'm an unbreakable
Thank you.
soul. Through the fight and flame, my scars are stories. My
Got a new gift for you.
strength, my
I'll
faith.
put it for you in a second.
Faith in my heart, fire in my curls, energy burn, clutch them pearls.
All right, let's get a little hood.
Hold up, lights on, chat in the room, another late night and another headline blooming. Coffee going cold, but the story got heat, and one little detail keep tapping my screen. Coming in clutch, when the timeline bends, we don't just scroll, we connect loose ends. Somebody said nah, that's probably enough, but the chat said Justin, we're coming in clutch. Run that back, don't rush that part. Something fell wrong from the very first start. Different day, same shaky excuse, and the math ain't mathin' when we check the proof. I'm not here to play detective for fame, I'm here when the story starts changing names. One clip, one call, one post too much, and the whole room knows we're coming in clutch. Coming in clutch, yeah, the facts stay loud. Truth don't hide when we bring the crowd. Screens lit up and the chat don't sleep. We dig real deep where the stories get steep. Pearls in the chat, lights in the back. Somebody better explain why the story went flat. You can dodge one question, maybe dodge two, but the internet clock what you said don't cue. Wait, Say that again, you said it was there, then it wasn't back then. You said you forgot, but the record got saved. Now the chest wide awake and the room just changed.
Coming in clutch when it all gets strange, when the facts get buried and the tone starts change. We don't need drama, the truth does enough, that's why they pull up, we're coming in clutch.
Late night crew, yeah, we built this thing. One live stream turned to a whole damn ring. Members in green minds holding it down. Whole chat moving like a small town crowd. No fake hype, no lazy spin. Just one more clue and we're back again. If it don't sit right, we don't let it slide. We put the detail right up on live.
Coming in clutch, say it one more time. Whole room locked on the very next line. From the first red flag to the final touch, you know where to be, we're coming in clutch.
When the screen fades out and the night gets still, somebody somewhere knows truth comes real. We'll be right here when the next facts drop. Coming in clutch and we don't just stop.
Hello. Everyone, good to see you all. Thank you all so very much for joining me. I really do appreciate your time. You could have chosen to be anywhere on YouTube. You have a lot of options anywhere on the internet, anywhere in the world, and you chose to be right here. I know your time is very valuable, and I do appreciate you spending some time with me. Today is July 10th, 2026. It is currently 6:44 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Good to see you all. Thank you all so much for joining me. Really do appreciate it. We are talking tonight about a very interesting case, and it's a very complicated one as well. You guys have asked me, by a lot of you guys asked me to cover this case, and yeah, this is our second or third live on this case. At the Ciders family out of Hamden, Ohio. Good to see you all, guys. Before we get started, if you would be so kind and please do me a big old favor and hit that thumbs up button, would greatly appreciate that. Also, if you would share this live stream out, hit that share button, copy that link, drop it in any of your favorite social media. And if you would consider hyping this video on YouTube, you get 3 hypes a week. If you don't use it, you lose it. If you would consider hyping this video on your mobile device, it has to be after the live stream, and it's got to be on your phone, your tablet, all that good jazz. So good to see you all. Hello, Dukes. Good to see you, my friend. Carol, hello. Half Moon, Patty Wine, Miss Shari, Grace, good to see you. Jerry Lynn, how you doing? Why am I wearing lipstick? Because boys can wear lipstick too. How about that? In the good shade. Love it. Miss Eureka, good to see you, my dear. Susan, open-minded. PGH, Jessica, Miss Shari Lynn, Pam, good to see you, darling. Lolo, thank you. And Lady for Justice, thank you for the gift, darling. Really appreciate you. Just me, Deb, Lady for Justice. Tanner Wrench, good to see you, my dear. Vibes, Mohawk, how you doing, girl? Grace, hello. Rochelle, I love you, darling. Appreciate you. Captain, good to see you. Bummer out of hypes, but we'll share. Thank you so much, Miss Carol. Appreciate you, my dear. Summer breeze makes me feel fine. Bat girl. Yeah, anyway, damn it. No, they can't. Am I gay? No, where would you ever get that this boy is gay? Where would you ever get that? I mean, come on. Why would you think that? I just don't understand. Don't understand. Anyway, hi, good to see you, Catherine. Good to see you, my dear. Really appreciate you. Good to see my friend Pinky. Thank you so much. Love your channel. You're amazing. Thank you so much, my dear. Really do appreciate you. And guess what? I have a new gifting song for you.
The room's alive. It's in the kind of love and it makes me shine. Here it comes again, pulling me in tight. I got that kind of glow, turning all the night.
Here we go.
Girl storm, coming in clutch. Girl storm,
darling. Really do appreciate it. Thank you so much, babe. Thank you, Pinky. Good to see you, my dear. Appreciate you. Yeah. Thank you, Mom Angie. Good to see you, babe. Miss Yadika. Hello, darling. Deb, thank you so much, baby. Love you so much. Love our Pearl family. I have my niece and my mother watching us tonight. Thank you, Miss Deb. Hello to mommy and niecey out there. Thank you so much for watching. I apologize for my filthy mouth sometimes. I get a little ahead of myself. So anyway, here we go, guys. We're going to get started on it all. Have you heard about the 10-year-old that went missing, found in pond in Kansas City? Said he was sleepwalking, walked a mile, found in pond. No, I haven't. There is. Thank you, Summer Breeze. I give them what they want. I just give them what they want. We really don't get a lot of trolls or anything like that. And if we do, I just give them what they want. Are you wearing makeup? No, of course not. Yeah, I am. Just give them what they want. They're having a bad day. Just send them love. Just send them love. Thank you, Summer Breeze. Appreciate you. Hello, Okie. Good to see you, babe. Thank you, Miss Queen. Just me. Thank you, Meow. Appreciate you, baby. You guys are funny. I do, Deb. I do. A lot. Okay, guys. So we're going to get started on it. And from the beginning, I have kind of. It's a really complicated case, right? Thank you, Carol. It's a really complicated case because there's 4 people that's been arrested, but and it's just my opinion, I'm one of 8 billion on the planet. I feel like at least 2 of the, well, not at least, 2 of the adults, in my opinion, are victims themselves. Specifically, the older guy and Elizabeth, the Mr. Senior, he may be, I'm kind of, with him. And Elizabeth, I spoke about this the other day. I believe she absolutely is a victim, and she just doesn't even know it. You know what I mean? Thank you, Denise. Appreciate you. That's right, Sarah. That's right. So we're going to talk about that, lady. Thank you for your gift, baby. Appreciate you very much. And Jeannie, good to see you, my darling. Thank you so very much for your support. Appreciate you. Thank you, baby. Really appreciate her formative years were spent pregnant. She has been pregnant since she has been a kid. She has been pregnant since she's been a kid herself. And when we are teenagers, 14, 15, 16, 17, we think we know what we want, but we have no idea what life has in store for us. It doesn't mean you can't be in love when you're 16, 17, 18 years old, but you're not ready for marriage. That's for sure. And like I've always said, I can't imagine having a kid as a teenager. That has to change you, let alone having how many kids as a teenager. And there's rumor now that she's even pregnant now. It wouldn't, I don't think it would be shocking for any of us. The rumor is that she's pregnant again. That's not shocking. She's been pregnant her entire life. I mean, she had twins, miscarried, and then had another set of twins. I mean, she's had like 3 sets of twins at least. So, hey, Susan, welcome. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. I can't even imagine having a kid as an adult. No. I mean, it changes everything. It really does. It really changes everything. Um, so a lot of you guys are probably keeping up with this story, and that's great and all that. But I haven't. I've been doing a lot of different. There's been really a lot going on right now with this case and Javia Harris case. I've been covering that. Jack and Lily, Nancy Guthrie, and a lot right now. So I haven't got to play the little press conference that happened the other day. So I'm going to play that. A lot of you have probably already seen it. I recognize that, but I want to play it for and also have my commentary on it for those that haven't yet. So how much could her body take? You know, I thought about that too, small town girl. I thought about that too. You know, I was talking about the other day, like my great grandmother, she had 18 kids. She had 18 kids. She lived to be 98 years old. I'm like, how does someone have 18 kids and live to be 98 years old? Like, how do you have a body left? And I would have told my great grandfather, get off of me. Get off of me. It's like, there is no way. My mom's the oldest of 14. It's crazy. I have a huge, like when I say huge family, I can't even tell you. Like my grandmother had 7 kids. And out of like all of the 18, I think the one that had the least out of the 18 was 3. So each of the 18 children that she had, each of them had anywhere from 3 to 9 kids. Just one side of it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm avoiding you, Deborah. Why would I avoid you, honey? Did you say something? Did I miss you? I'm the oldest of 10. Hey, Nerdy, good to see you, my dear. What's going on with the Elena Moore case? So we're going to be covering more of that in a couple days. One of my mods actually sent me some on-the-ground video that we're going to go over as well. Yeah, we're not avoiding you, my dear. We just have, 700. I've got 700 in all the chats that I'm talking in right now. So a lot going on. But if you have a question, you can ask, one of the member or the mods if it's, really urgent. Okay. All right. So let's get right on it. I want to go over this prosecutor, what he said. To me, he seems like a very fair person. This is a very small area. Very, very small area. And not a lot of money. This is right on the border of Ohio and West Virginia. Thank you, Golden. Appreciate you, babe. I'm the sole survivor of my entire family. Well, you got family here. I'm out. We're your Pearl family. Okay. My dad was 16 and my mom was from 10 and 4. Yeah. Yeah. It happens. Especially back then. There was nowadays it's
office. The Attorney General did offer assistance and has agreed to provide an assistant AG. Her name is Kara Keating, and yesterday motion was filed to have her appointed special prosecutor to assist me in the prosecution. Also, Annika Collins, who is a Highland County prosecuting attorney. I also filed a motion to have her appointed as a special prosecutor, as she was an old colleague of mine when I worked in Highland County. Both of these women are outstanding prosecutors with.
So this is obviously taken on a life of its own, this case, and so they are asking for special prosecutors, which is a very, very smart thing.
Extensive experience in child cases, and they will do nothing but help our team progress through these cases. The other thing finally on that point is, for the taxpayers, these special prosecutors come at no cost to Vinton County. They've either volunteered or they're being paid by their respective offices. Point number 2, I think most of you are aware now that Gary Ciders Sr., the older Gary Siders, was provided with a bond today, an OR.
I know a lot of people were originally freaking out because Gary Siders Sr. had a bond, but he's going to explain why he had a bond, and it'll make sense to you as well. Now, like I said, I personally think Elizabeth absolutely is a victim. She may not even know she's a victim. A lot of victims don't know that they're victims. So we got to keep that in mind as well. I am very torn about Gary Sr., right? I'm very, very torn about Gary Sr. I don't know if he's just competent enough, educated enough. I think that they're really going to have to go back and look at his history, how he lived, in the much more, past, and all of that. Now, in my opinion, I really, really believe that Gary Jr. is now pretty much the head of this. I think, in my opinion, he should be the one that faces the most harsh of the consequences. I don't know. We'll see. And I think the mother, the Gary's Senior's wife, I can't remember her name. What is her name? I always forget her name. Her.
Bond. Let me explain the circumstances around that. First, let me stress the community.
Yes. So, a lot of people have been speaking about the Whitaker family. Now, I'm not far from the Whitaker family. I can understand how people are reminded by the difference, but I think they're like I mentioned this the other day. I think they're completely different circumstances, in my opinion. With the Whitaker family, their gene pool, they were, I don't want to say the word. They had inbreeding. Okay, I'll just say it like that. They had inbreeding, and that's not their fault, right? That is, a condition, the way that they lived and all that. That wasn't their fault. The Whitaker people are very nice people. They don't, they didn't have a bunch of, kids locked in a room. You know what I mean? Whitaker, they went out places. They go places still all the time. With these guys, like there was, in my opinion, malice with these kids. Just complete allowing them to be in a 10-foot by 10-foot with so many, from 18 months to 18 years. It's just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Community is not at risk because of this bond. Yesterday, as you all know, the cases were scheduled.
Well, yeah, sorry I keep interrupting, but I see you guys are commenting really good comments. You can't get married at age 15. It's insane. Well, I'm from West Virginia, and it's different. Now you can't get married in West Virginia, I don't think, at 15. But just a few years back, you could. And as long as, if I recall correctly, as long as both sides of the families, like the mom and the dad from both sides of the family would sign off on it. They've recently changed that because, again, times are different now, and no 15-year-old needs to be married, in my opinion. It just doesn't need to happen. And I'm glad that changed. It's some of the laws that we have. We all have crazy laws in our states or whatever, but just in our country, like I said, in West Virginia, you could get married at 15, but you couldn't go to war at 15. You couldn't buy alcohol at 15 or smokes at 15, but you could get married. It's like, who's thinking of this? You know what I mean? Chihuahua, thank you, baby. Good to see you. Appreciate you so very much. Thank you so much for 2 months. Legend you. Appreciate you very, very much, my dear. Very kind. Who's the blonde retired reporter? Not Nancy, but has a channel. I don't know who you mean, baby kisses. I don't know who you mean. I'll check.
For preliminary hearing. During the transport, Mr. Siders fell and had a medical issue that required treatment and assessment. O'Glennis Hospital was where he was taken, and it was determined at that point, upon some tests that O'Glennis did, that Mr. Siders Sr. has a serious medical condition that requires specialized care in a hospital outside of this area. Practically, and I don't know if you folks know this or not, but when defendants are housed in county jails, it is the county's responsibility to pay for the medical care. Prisons are for defendants who have been convicted. Then the state pays for it, but he's still an innocent man that has not been convicted yet. So the county was going to be on the hook for his medical care. And again, based on the information that we were provided, his medical care could potentially bankrupt Vinton County. We were not going to put that burden.
Now, that was a kind of a shocking statement that he said there, that this could literally bankrupt the county. It sounds like he fell. It sounds like this guy probably fell. And, it's like, whenever I can't explain it to you how mountain people are. But historically, Appalachian people didn't go a lot of places. They stayed really close to home. That was the older generation, and I mean, some are still like that. But they didn't go out of the state. A lot of them didn't. And even like when they would go out of town or something, it would some of them would be really nervous, with being around a bunch of people. And, I kind of feel really bad, particularly for Mr. the old man here, because I just don't know if he's got enough, um, mind to make it. He's probably extremely nervous and all that, but again, a lot of people's like, those kids didn't have any mercy. He shouldn't either. I just don't know how I feel about the old man and Elizabeth. So I'm gonna do a poll. I'm gonna do a poll. My mic might be fucking up. We'll see. Okay. All right. Justin, your sound is very low. Perfect. That's just what the doctor ordered. Okay. Let's see what the hell's going on here now. All right. We'll get it. Hopefully we'll get it. Hopefully that'll work. All right. Here we go.
And also on our local taxpayers. And so it was agreed that we would do a recognizance bond so he could get the medical treatment that the doctors say he needs.
I don't know.
And won't cost the county that money. If he's released from the hospital, he will then be equipped with a GPS monitor. Also, if you haven't already noticed on the docket, his defense attorney did file competency motions, as I'm sure you have noticed from the proceedings in which he's been present. There's certainly been some issues about his ability to go forward on the prosecution. And so his defense attorney decided to file those.
So Gary Ciders Sr., the older man, he's 73. Christina Siders, his wife, is 67. Gary Siders Jr. is 36. And Elizabeth is 33. That's
motions to have him assessed. That is all that I have at this point. I'm willing to answer briefly questions related to that. I will stress with you, our office has specifically not addressed the factual nature of this case because it is still under investigation. There's a lot of information still out there, and in fairness to the defendants, particularly to the victims and to the community, we're not releasing information until it's appropriate to do so. Again, having said that, I'll address whatever questions there might be.
Yes, you don't think so, Michelle? Some people don't.
And state officials saying you were trying to try the case in the court of public opinion. How would you respond to those comments from the attorney?
Mr. Baum filed a.
So that's the thing, right? Like I see some photos of Mr. Siders, and he looks like, he certainly had better days, but I don't know if he's like always been there. We're going to look at, there's an interview here with people that knows them. So we're going to look at that here in just a minute. Really, Jolene. I'm a nurse, and he really seems to have dementia based on what he shared. Right. And this is a question that makes you think. Okay. And this is, to me, it's a tough question. I want to see what you guys think about this. Let's say, for instance, not diagnosing, treating, anything like that, but let's say a person such as Gary Siders Sr. has dementia, but is in the early stages or mid stages of dementia. Should we as a society be easier on them because of this illness? Or because of the things that happened before their dementia happened, right? But when someone has dementia, right, they're not even with it anyways. So it's one of those things that really tug on me. You know what I mean? Because evil people, maybe at one time, but had this, bad illness that all people can get. Are we easier on them? Does it help to punish? Hey, Sarah Jane, does it help to punish someone who's out of it anyways? Because punishment, like a physical punishment behind a jail or a prison, it's not only a physical punishment, but it's a mental punishment, right? Because of you're physically away from the world. So I don't know, but just the way that Gary looks and the way that he responds, it's like he definitely can't hear good, or he doesn't understand. So we'll just have to see.
Second response and indicated
question.
The comments were not made by me. And I made that clear. If you go back and review the comments that I made, I simply laid out what happened in court and that it wasn't human trafficking, because that was a major issue to the community. And I wanted to make sure they knew this was not human trafficking.
What type of expensive care does Gary's senior need? What kind of test, what kind of care is he going to?
You know that that's a HIPAA issue, and that's not anything that I can address.
Elizabeth's attorney has expressed concerns that she could be a victim in this case. Is that something your office is looking into?
According to her attorney, she's not a victim.
And that's the thing in our court system, right? You have to be in our justice system. You have to be able to help out with your defense, meaning you have to be in your mind as well. So it's
so we'll let him decide how he wants to address his representation of her. I'm sorry, ma'am. No.
Are there any questions about the mental capacity of the other suspects?
Capacity?
Yeah.
Again, that's up to their defense attorneys to whether they want to go down that road or not. So that's a better question for them.
Social media has been a big part of this case. There's been a lot of attention online. Can you speak to how that impacts your office and how this was going?
No, I agree. Ginger.
If you've seen some of the stuff on the media, social media, there were pictures that the kids were in cages, that they were taped shut, their mouths, whatever. The problem with social media is you don't have to be telling the truth. You don't have to be saying things that's accurate.
Yeah. Now, guys, listen, you're going to see, especially on Facebook, you're going to see these people making up this ridiculous, these cases are bad enough. You don't need to add anything crazy to it. It's crazy enough. 16 kids were in a 10-foot by 10-foot room, but they'll put like these random kids in cages and say it's, with the Ciders family. No, it's not. It's bad enough. You don't got to make it any worse, social media. Okay. Chihuahua, thank you so much, my dear. Appreciate you very, very much. Thank you so much. And Miss Dolores, thank you so much for your support, my dear. Appreciate you. And thank you again, Miss Dolores. We love you. And thank you, Chihuahua. Appreciate you very much. Really do appreciate your support. Dementia isn't just memory problems. Your brain forgets how to function until you're laying. Yes. Your brain technically forgets how to swallow and breathe, right? Because your brain is what keeps you breathing, everything, right? Dementia is a horrible disease. Absolutely horrible disease. Absolutely horrible. When they question the older kids, they will probably find out Gary Sr. Oh, yeah, they will. They will. But, that's going to be difficult questioning those kids as well, right? Really hard. Oh my God, Miss Kelly. Thank you so much, my darling. Appreciate you very much. Gifting 10 pearl necklaces. That's very generous of you, Miss Kel. Love you, baby.
The room's alive, it's in the kind of love and it makes me shine. Here it comes again, pulling me in tight. Got that kind of glow, turning all the night.
Pearl storm, coming in clutch. Pearl storm, that's too much. Pearl storm, coming in clutch.
Pearl stone, I can't get enough.
Thank you so much, Miss Kel. Appreciate you very, very much, my lovely. Very kind of you. Much love to you, Mama. Appreciate you. And the Looking Glass, 20 months. What an OG. How you doing? Good to see you, Looking Glass. Thank you so much for being an OG. Thank you so much for your continued support, my dear. Really, really do appreciate you, Looking Glass. Thank you, Miss Kel. Did the grandparents have any other kids besides the son? Yes, they did. Yes, that's how my cousin of 80 as dementia passed away. She forgot to swallow. So sad. Yeah, it's a horrible disease. Horrible, it really is. When they made their first appearance, Gary Sr. was in a wheelchair. Yeah. That's an interesting question. Because he was in a wheelchair. Maybe he fell when he got out of the wheelchair or something like that. You know what I mean? He's got to use the bathroom or something, right? My heart goes out to the doctor that had to deliver those babies. Yeah. Which they're going to talk about the birth certificates here in a minute. Oh, thank you, Mary. I get a little spicy sometimes, Mary, but I try to keep it a little classy.
I don't understand why people put stuff like this on. It's not truthful. It's not accurate, but I can't stop it. And all I can do is shrug my shoulders and say, why are we doing this, particularly to these victims? Because they're going to be tarnished by this for a long part of their lives.
Can you share an update on the children's condition? Are they all out of hospital or are they all in homes?
I can't answer that specifically, but I will tell you that they are all safe and being cared for.
Now, I will say, the outside of their house here, this is any house in Appalachia, any neighborhood in Appalachia. And the outside of their house is not near as bad as I've seen at all. I have seen way worse outside. So yeah. Leslie, thank you so much for the gift, baby. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, darling. Very kind of you. Thank you so much, baby. It is Rickson. It really is. There's a lot of opinions in this, but we all need to remember who the main victims are, and it's those children. Remember, there is children in the hospital. They couldn't even verbalize. Don't even know how to speak. Do you think anyone had any knowledge of their living conditions should be charged too? That's a good question, girl mom. That's a good question. That's a good question. I think if anybody saw 16 kids in a 10 foot by 10 foot, and I got some more pictures I want to show you guys. Yeah. And if you didn't do your part and call, CPS, Adult Protective Services, whoever, 911, whoever. Yeah, I do believe the Lana's mode surprised me. The midwife needs to be questioned. Right. That's what I just said a minute ago, Rockies. Exactly. It's crazy. It's crazy. Who makes these laws?
Is there any evidence that it was decided they had more than 16 children in her lifetime?
Again, I can't address that specific fact.
Were all four of these suspects receiving state benefits? If not all of them, who was?
We got some
To my
interviews from
knowledge,
family, though.
Only the two elderly, the two oldest, Mr. Grandma and Grandpa were the only ones I'm aware of that were receiving benefits at that time, at the time of this incident.
Are you still expecting more charges?
I don't know that part. I don't know.
Are you still expecting more possible charges?
The investigation is ongoing.
When do you expect the grand jury indictment? Do you know when they meet next?
The grand jury is a secret process. We do not disclose specifics on that. We hope to be having information for that within the next couple of weeks. What I will tell you is, this is not Franklin County, who has grand juries every day practically. Normally, Vinton County has a grand jury every other month, which is why the preliminary hearing issue came up, is because we don't have grand jury that often, and by right, the defendants have the ability to have that hearing.
Has any testing been done to assure that all 16 children belong to the same person?
I can't address that.
Can you comment, Mr. Prosecutor, real quick, the relationship, or what you learned about the relationship of the deceased property owner and any member of the Ciders family?
Other than being tenants, I don't know that there is any.
Were they tenants or were they squatters?
Wait, oh, sorry. Go
Were
ahead.
they tenants, were they paying rent, or were they squatters?
My understanding, they were paying rent, yes.
Did the children have birth certificates?
No, baby. It comes out once a month. If you buy a membership, it just comes out once a month. And that's how it comes out. No, you don't have to buy a whole year. No, not at all. Thank you, love. I have no pity for them. I have no pity for them at all. They are smart enough to move around and keep kids hid. And I agree. I agree with that. I did mention that the other day. I do have more compassion. Like I said, I have more compassion for Elizabeth than any of the adults. And we got to find out who was the one leading this family, right? There's the head figure of the family, in any family, the matriarch or the patriarch of the family. Who was the one that was moving them around? You know what I mean? Justin has a heart. Well, I just think sometimes victims don't know that they're victims. You know what I mean?
I don't know that we have all of their birth certificates. Let me answer that.
They're not.
Were they all registered with the state?
Again,
No.
a little bit beyond what I can I answered you what I know at this point.
Your Ciders Jr. will be in court tomorrow for unrelated.
He will not. His defense attorney is on vacation and has filed to continue. So if you were planning on coming, I'll save you your time. That has been continued. I don't know what the new date is. Check with county court, but it is not happening tomorrow.
Was that the parallel investigation that brought investigation?
I can't answer that.
Do you know if anyone in the family was working, how his family got an income?
Again, we will get to some of those things when we have a little bit more of an ability to give you some more of the facts. But I can't get into that anymore.
Are there any federal agencies are involved in this investigation?
How many agencies?
Can you speak to if there's any federal
No, not to my knowledge.
Do you know of any children's services safety checks conducted at that home, be it Franklin County, be it Vinton County? Was there any mandatory reporting, especially by hospitals or medical officials?
Again, I can't address that, sorry.
The indecency charges, can you share any more about that investigation and the allegations he's facing when it comes to that?
I can't. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
As you
So-
have been listening live,
That was that. And again, there's the 4, June 30th. And just the fact that they would, again, nobody turned them in. The only reason they were caught is because Gary Ciders Jr. had a warrant out for his arrest for indecent exposure, right? Yeah, he had it. He was showing his, yeah, one of those. Yeah, exactly. Okay, all right. We got some stuff we got to get to here. Some more stuff. Oh man, it's a lot. So this came out yesterday. Regardless how there is 16 kids that are really confused right now. And I was thinking about these the kids specifically when you can't verbalize how you feel, right? Can you imagine not being able to express yourself verbally? Some of these kids cannot even speak. And all of this confusion, they're used to living in a room with urine, feces, just the most awful. Okay, look at this right here.
facing charges in the after experiencing a medical emergency. Attorneys say Gary Siders Sr. is out on a recognizance bond and receiving extensive medical treatments tonight. Good evening. Thanks for joining us for NBC4 at 11. I'm Colleen Marshall. The Vinton County prosecutor explained the bond change.
He's still an innocent man that has not been convicted yet. So the county was going to be on the hook for his medical care.
Vinton County prosecutor William Archer says when defendants are housed in county jails, it's on the county to foot the medical bills. So Siders Sr.'s bond was modified to a recognizance bond, meaning he can be released from jail without paying money up front.
His medical care could potentially bankrupt Vinton County. We were not going to put that burden also on our local taxpayers.
Authorities say the 73-year-old experienced a medical issue while being transported to the courthouse for a preliminary hearing, and he was taken to a hospital in Athens. That's where medical officials determined Siders Sr. was suffering a serious medical condition that requires more care. While his attorney, Dorian Bowham, could not disclose the details due to HIPAA and respecting the privacy of his client, he did have some concerns.
When I did meet with him, I can let you know that obviously I had some concerns for his health. I specifically asked that the law enforcement officials who were there at the sheriff's office have him checked out by nursing or medical. So I did specifically ask about that because I myself had some concerns for his both his mental health as well as his physical health.
When Siders Sr. is released from the hospital, he is court-ordered to wear a GPS tracker.
I don't think that he'll be able. You're just not able to fake it for that long. In my opinion, they have ways around it that they'll know. In my opinion, they should consider trying to care with at least one of their siblings from within the 16, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Ciders Sr. and his family, Christina Siders, Elizabeth Siders, and Gary Ciders Jr., are all facing child endangerment charges following the removal of 16 children from their home in Hamden earlier this month. All 4 Ciders have not been indicted by a grand jury yet, and there is no set timeline following issues with Siders Sr.'s health.
There's certainly been some issues about his ability to go forward on the prosecution.
I'm going to show you some pictures you might not have ever seen of this, the inside of this house here in a minute, and I want to give you a warning.
This case gained national attention since the story broke, including fake images created with artificial intelligence.
The problem with social media is you don't have to be telling the truth. You don't have to be saying anything that's accurate. I don't understand why people put stuff like this on. It's not truthful.
I agree with
It's
that.
not accurate, but I can't stop it.
All I can do is come on and tell you guys and tell the rest of the media what we've actually seen and what everyone should be doing, which is taking a step back and letting the process play out.
And while officials cannot disclose much information about the children, Archer says the children are safe and are being cared for. Now, the state of Ohio will consider investing $1 million to support those children. According to 2 people familiar with the request, the Department of Children and Youth is in the process of filing a late agenda item to request that money. It would be used to pay for foster care placements and court
Wait till you
proceedings.
see this, guys.
The filing is going to the state controlling board, and it is expected to approve the funding at its next meeting.
Okay, guys, so I'm going to show you a couple pictures. Some of y'all may have never seen these. I do want to give you, it's not for the faint of heart. It's very dirty. Okay, I'm going to show you a picture of the bathroom. This is the bathroom this is the house that they were living in. I don't think that there was any, doesn't appear to be any running water. And you know, also this is Ohio. It's very cold. And like the windows is just, there's just a board over it. No utilities. Are you sure there was no no, there was, I thought there was some. No, Sarah Jane, honey, there was 16 kids in a, yeah, that's for real. Where did they go to the bathroom? You see it everywhere. That looks like a diaper bags. Yeah. I've got another picture. Okay. I'm going to show you another picture. A lot of people hasn't seen some of these pictures, so here we go. This is, I think, the room that they were staying in. Right here. See, I don't even think it's a third world country. Like third world country, they don't no. You know who's the father of these children? Well, supposedly it's Gary Jr., but I believe they're going to have to be doing some DNA testing. That's crazy. No way. They could still have thrown out the garbage and cleared. And so, you know, someone is going to have to be held accountable for this. they're just going to have to be found accountable for this. 1 second here. I'm getting some stuff in. Okay. Thank you for that. Give me a second, guys. Okay. They're all their eyes, honey. They slept here. They used the bathroom here. They did it all here. And we're talking 18 months to 18 years. 18 months to 18 years. All of that. All right, you ready for the other picture? Y'all ready? Right here. It's just they rented the place, landlord kept up outside. Yeah. They just dropped the rent check off. The landlord, I think the woman died, if I'm correct, and they just dropped a check in the mailbox down the road. What is that? I think it's a bathroom. Caroline. Now I feel less awful for not mopping. Oh, Lord. Thank you for that, Lady Jane. Appreciate you, honey. They said, the prosecutor said that he couldn't get the smell out of his nose. And I forget how long they lived there, going to clean my house. Yeah, it's really, really bad. Really bad. I don't even know, how it goes. But the old man, I guess he's now in the hospital. Has a medical issue he had a medical issue during transport for the preliminary hearing. He was taken to Oblenis Hospital. Testing showed he had a serious medical condition requiring specialized hospital care outside of the area. Because he is in county custody and not convicted, Vinton County would be responsible for those medical costs. The prosecutor said medical care could potentially bankrupt the county. And all of that. There's a lot of rumors. Obviously, the kids were not in cages or anything like that. The specific medical condition of Gary Ciders Sr., we are not going to know because of HIPAA as well. Okay, I've got all of the... I'm trying to find this interview that I had of there was a family member that lived in somewhere in, I think they live in West Virginia. They was speaking on this as well. Let me see here. Sider family. 1 second. Before we go to the next thing, I want to just see if I can find this. There was... Okay, here we go. Pretty sure this is it. No. Give me a second. Ciders. It's with an S. Okay, here it is. I found it. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Guys, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, sharing this live stream out. This is a family member, and they live in, I guess, Charleston, West Virginia.
Where 16 children were rescued from a house in Vinton County described as not fit for livestock. 13 News is digging deeper into this case. We've uncovered new information and confirmed through official documents that there were even another set of twins born into the Ciders family. This set of
I don't even know if I don't even think roaches and rats would live there. To be honest, I was like,
twins, however, died the same day they were born. Now, just over an hour ago, 13 News anchor Amanda Barron sat down with an in-law of the Siders family. He tells us because of what's going on, his family is now getting death threats.
Guys, leave the families alone. Leave the distant family alone. Leave everybody alone. Don't contact, don't harass, don't do any of that shit. This is bad enough. Don't make it worse.
Amanda joins us live right now from the home in Vinton County. Family members say that they were kept at an arm's length, but always helped when asked. Amanda?
Look, John, thank you for your gift, honey.
Yeah, Ronnie Fletcher says, Zach, that they always...
How did they get their money? The junior, Gary Ciders Jr., he DoorDashed. And we don't really know how they got their income other than that. But let's just be real. A DoorDash job is not going to support 20 people. It's just not going to support 20 people. You know, those, I mean, you got to remember, like, there were children that were days, maybe hours away from death. Maybe hours away from death. And I consider it a miracle that the county went there to execute that warrant when they did. I do. I consider that just a miracle because this was a situation that was not going to get any better. That is for sure. Yes, but do you know if it takes per month about $23,000 to take care of that many kids? I did my research. I mean, it would cost a lot of money. Well, that would be to adequately care, right? I don't know. Now, people in the Dollar General that they would go to a lot, they said that they would have like a bunch of cards, like a bunch of like prepaid cards and all kinds of cards, and it would have like maybe $1 on this card, and they'd swipe that card and go to the next one and swipe that card and stuff. Sugar and oil is what they fed these babies. They bought a lot of I just can't even think about it. God bless the individuals that are going to be restoring these kids to the best of the ability. And like I mentioned the other day, the younger children is going to have the easiest time with transitioning by far, right? The 18-month-old, you know, and the younger kids, they're going to have it the best. They're going to have it the best. The older kids, it's going to be the mind fuck for them. It's going to be difficult for all of them. But regardless, the younger kids, it'll be much easier. No, I won't say it's easy, but it's going to be less. all going to be uphill.
Jumped in
but,
to help where they could. He's the Ciders' son-in-law, and he says that he and the extended family were not aware of the extent of what was happening, investigators say, inside this home behind me. He says they often didn't know where that family lived, and they certainly didn't know about this home that you see still taped off nearly a week later. I can also tell you.
Yeah, the Turbans. And see that, like, the Turban family, they were evil. They had malice. They treated those kids horrible. People like the family that's close to, we just mentioned them earlier, they're different, in my opinion, because they're inbred and they just don't know. And the problem I have with this, one of the problems I have with this family is they try to actively conceal these children by constantly moving. And that to me shows at least some of them knew that this was wrong. Whitaker's, thank you. They knew that this was wrong. And if they know it's wrong, then your ass needs to go to prison. They actively concealed. Actively concealed. Absolutely.
This afternoon.
Thank you for the gifts, guys. I appreciate you. I will I can't see them right now, but I'll thank you for them at the end of this. Thank you,
The family
guys.
says they found out about this situation like the rest of us on the news, and now they're receiving death threats as a result of these arrests that have been made and the welfare of the children that they are concerned about, and so are the rest of us this hour. They say that not only are they receiving death threats, they've been forced to miss work, and they're struggling to put food on the table.
Been awful for the people that had no idea that was going on in the house that are related to this family. I mean, we've had death threats. We've been told that we need to be put in front of a, execution line of guns and, killed and, burned in, it's been bad. Gary and Lynn did not raise their children that way. They're the four daughters that got out are successful members of society. We've raised our children. Our children have, college degrees or, whatever, and for us to be put into all this, and there's generational incest and, this is going on generational. It's not true. This is all into that one home. The last time we heard from them, we gave them a car, and it's probably close to a year ago now, other than them Lynn calling us and asking for money, or, they needed help with the water bill, or, whatever. And if we had it,
I don't think they had water.
We didn't, one of the other daughters did. So we've done what we could for that family at the arm's length that they was keeping us at.
Ronnie says they did whatever they could to help at any time, as you just heard from. He says his wife would give anyone her last $5 to help somebody. Not only that, Ronnie says that they have taken in children from another family member, and they're helping to raise them right now because of another situation that family's dealing with. So this is a family who says they would step in to help. Coming up tonight at 6, you'll hear what he thinks justice looks like in this situation, and you'll also hear what his message is to those children who are now recovering, Zach, and in a better situation, investigators say, than they were when they were living inside the.
I want to say that this guy that's talking here, he lives in West Virginia. He lives in Charleston is central West Virginia. So he lives probably 2.5 hours away. Probably 2.5 hours away. Yeah.
His home in Hamden Township.
So there.
Did life get busy in finishing your degree?
Okay. I mean, she looks Elizabeth. She looks worn. I mean, I don't think this is people says this is her eyes from crying. This is not crying, in my opinion. I'm not a doctor. I'm not diagnosing or anything, but I will say that I think in my opinion, this is a conjunctivitis from the feces and the urine in the house. And it wouldn't surprise me if all the kids had this. I talked about this the other day. When you go to a pool, a public pool, whenever how your eyes burn and are sometimes red, well, that is from a number of factors. That is from feces and urine and chlorine. Yeah. That is what that's from, is when you go to a public pool. That's why your eyes get red. The more you know. Google it if you don't believe me.
Elizabeth Ciders faces 16 counts of endangering children after 16 kids were rescued from this Vinton County home. But nearly 20 years ago, she was a 15-year-old bride to her then 18-year-old husband, Gary Ciders Jr. in Mason County, West Virginia. His parents, Gary Ciders Sr. and Christina Siders, are also listed on the marriage license.
At the time, there was no age that minimum to marry in West Virginia.
Attorney Amanda Alexander practices family law in West Virginia. She tells me a 15-year-old could marry then with the consent of her parents.
Could the judge have stopped it?
The judge absolutely could have stopped this marriage.
But Alexander says the law did not state the court needed to investigate.
I would want to know the relationship between the two. I'd probably want to interview, or at least appoint a guardian. I'd like them to interview the bride separately.
Fast forward another 15 years. Lawmakers in West Virginia introduced a new law to increase the minimum marriage age to 18, no exceptions.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. Out of all of them, I think the Gary Ciders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders, I think those are the two that deserve the most criticism, in my opinion.
However, that's not what passed. Senators changed it to age 16 with parent and court consent. And the age gap between spouses should be no more than 4 years. Again, no requirement for a court investigation.
Should you be asking those questions as a court to make sure there's no victimization?
Absolutely.
And since the oldest victim in the Ciders case was born after Elizabeth and Gary Jr.'s marriage when Elizabeth was 15, and the next victim was born when Elizabeth was 16, I asked investigators last week if Elizabeth was also a victim.
Did Elizabeth Sider birth any or all of these children? And is she a victim herself?
That is all still part of the ongoing investigation. At this time, we can't continue on that.
And that is where Alexander tells me she sees more cracks in the system.
Did she receive prenatal care as a minor? How many children did she have? And Family Services look into it at that point so that we didn't get to a point where there were 16 children living in the basement.
Oh my God. So let's think about that a second. She is now 33. She had her first kid at what, 16 or 15? I can't remember. So pretty much in 18 years, she's had, well, she's got 16 right now. She's pregnant with one. And they've had what, two sets of twins die? First pregnancy, age 13, allegedly. I'm confused. Are the siblings married each other? No, they're not. You know, they're going to be doing some DNA testing, obviously. They're going to be having to do some DNA testing, because these kids were essentially feral. This makes me want to cry when I think of it. The prosecutor said when the door opened, he said the kids were like hunkered down. And he said, like, in a third world country, and like this craziness look in their eye, because they don't know who people are. They can't even verbalize, some of them. First was at 15. First, they say 13 and changed it. They did DNA testing and they say Elizabeth. They didn't say about the dad. Yeah, I've got all of... One second. I've got all of the kids' dates of birth and all that as well. I can show you guys that in a minute. But it's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. All right, guys. We're gonna go to give me 1 second here as I put this link in. I gotta load this. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button if you haven't yet. Share the live stream out. Would be very, very thankful if you guys would do that. Okay. Here. Wrong one. Here we go. Oops. All right. I'm going to go to our friend, Mr. Enton. Is mom a monster or a victim? And I think there's a lot of debate over that. Someone mentioned this to me the other day, and I absolutely agree with them. You can be a victim in one right, and you can also have done some wrong, right? You get what I mean? For instance, if you follow me with the Jack and Lily Sullivan case, I believe the mother, Malaya, is a victim in some aspects, but I don't think she's a victim when it comes to her kids, right? 16 kids, 4 adults, so 21. Yes. Yes. Summer Breeze, thank you, honey. I didn't see. I apologize. A tough case to cover. Thank you. Thank you so much, Summer Breeze. Appreciate you, my love. Thank you so much for your support. It's a tough one. So many victims, Thank you, Mini Panthers. I don't think people truly understand what a feral child is unless you read case studies of others that are feral. Love you, Justin. Rock that lipstick. Thank you so much, babe. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, babe. Justin, how about that theory the 18-year-old could have had kids? I don't know what you mean by the theory of that. Maybe I haven't seen that. Let me know more what you mean by that. But I don't think that this mother, I don't know. See, I get really torn on this. I think about, should Elizabeth, her being a victim, marrying so young when she was a child herself, having children when she was a child, living in these conditions for a long time. She became a product of her environment like everyone does. She is a victim, but my question is, should she ever be able to have, if she gets out, should she ever be able to have her kids back? If she would rehabilitate, I guess you could say. No. Hell no. Okay. Hey, I don't think she should either. I don't think she should, but the thing is, I really want to know about how Elizabeth's parents was. Right? Like, how was Elizabeth? We've got pictures of her that looks nothing like she does now. And so she knew, in my opinion, that the way that they were living wasn't right. But I also understand if you are mind fucked and abused for so long, that can change. Right. So you might be able to be rehabilitated, but should never have custody of the children. I agree. I don't know why her body didn't give her a hysterectomy at that point. I mean, damn, your uterus has to be fucking tired. Yeah, exactly, Smiley. Exactly. Okay, here we go.
So much for checking out my show. Really appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody for checking out my content and everybody who's subscribed. You guys know how it is. Like, a lot of these stories I cover, a lot of these cases are super sad, but some of them are just sort of like beyond. And this Ohio case with the 16 abused children, allegedly at the hands of their parents and grandparents, living in the 12 by 12 room, really on the brink of death, a house of horror, as many are calling it, is just awful. And I have a really unique perspective on the case in this episode. You guys might remember, probably do, the Turpin case in California, a similar case.
And you know what? We may do the way Minnie Panthers was saying about understanding feral children. We might do a whole live stream on that, what that really entails, because if you don't understand, I mean, think of it's so hard to explain. You know how the family in West Virginia, can't think of their names, like the one that sounds just like a dog when he barks, right? Like, they can have like their own language and all of that. It's very wild.
Kids abused by their parents, locked in the house, chained up, didn't even really know how to speak or use language. Well, the prosecutor in that case is going to join me in this episode to talk about why parents do this and how the victims can recover. And she understands this really unlike anyone else because she was close to the Turpins. She was the prosecutor. She understands the parents, the evil, and I'm just really interested in her perspective on all of it. So I'm going to get into it and the latest on the case in Ohio. The parents were just in court again. I've got all the details coming up in this episode of Brian Ensign Investigates. So it's got to be one of the worst cases any of us have seen in a long time when it comes to children. 16 children rescued from an Ohio home. The details are I was just saying, they're beyond. The kids kept isolated. Is some of the children
kind of contributes to a lack of information.
Really even speak.
That's why there's kind of contributes to a lack of information. It's one of the investigative challenges we have to face is that they are limited. They can communicate, but it's extremely limited, and some not at all.
Some of these children couldn't even speak. Yeah. So I mean, we're talking. This is very. It was terrible. I mean, they really. It looked like almost feral animals. It was terrible. So when we're talking reading and writing and education, we're talking a whole nother level of expectation.
Yeah, and I hope that is a big wake up call for this family as well. The Turpin children, after they were rescued, they went to these foster care in equally as bad condition.
Here, like it's hard enough just to get these kids to be able to the 18-year-old can't spell her name.
One of the big questions that I have, that I think a lot of people have who have been following the story, is how did this go undiscovered for so long, with so many people living in one small house of filth?
Oh no, Debbie, no.
How did no one know? Well, the children were not enrolled in school, and it seems that people didn't know the extent of how bad it was.
I don't know how I could barely walk behind them in the store and be able to breathe. And not being mean, my husband would always kind of, shrug me like, you don't judge people just off of how they smell or how they look or what they're wearing, because you never know. Kind of can't believe that they were all living in something that was that bad.
It's just shocking. 16 kids in that kind of condition. This is going to last a long time, being shocked. It's not going to go away in a year. It's not going to go away in a couple of years. It's going to be long lasting. That's the truth.
This case brings up another.
You know something? And that's a very good question, SOS Seeker of Spirits. Was the 33-year-old mom tied up? How could she let her children live in that? So if you look at the Elizabeth's jailhouse video, she does have like a red spot right here, but a lot of people's thinking like maybe she was tied up, but I think it was probably from the handcuffs, in my opinion. She could have been, but I feel like it was from the handcuffs, most likely.
Strikingly disturbing case, and there's so many similarities to the Turpin case. And I'm going to talk to the prosecutor of that case in a minute, who can share what these children in Ohio are facing with their recovery.
Turpin children were, or Turpin family, they were just evil. And the Turpin family, they pretended to be this united family, when behind closed doors, they were just flat out evil. They're the ones that wore the Thing 1, Thing 2, Thing 3 shirts. I probably got a picture of it. It's a very, very popular. There's been all kinds of documentaries done on it. Just countless. Absolutely countless. Here it is right here. I'm sure most of you have seen this. But look, they made it look like, again, clean shirts. They look, like a family that's put together. They were anything but.
In the Turpin case, this was from back in 2018. 13 siblings were rescued from horrific conditions. This was in Paris, California. The abusers were their parents, David and Louise Turpin. The discovery was made after 17-year-old Jordan Turpin escaped from the house, called 911. It's an unbelievable story. Jordan and her siblings were subject to starvation, to dehydration, and violence. Several of the kids were found chained to their beds. And the parents ended up pleading guilty in that case to torture, child endangerment, and false imprisonment. They were sentenced to life in prison. And tragically, the kids were subject to even more abuse when they were put into the foster care system. And that's what I'm thinking about with this Ohio case. And there's someone who knows the Turpin case better than literally pretty much anyone. It's attorney Kim Dagonia, who prosecuted the case. Kim, it's nice to see you. Thank you for joining me. I wanted to talk to you because the minute I heard about this Ohio story, the Turpin case obviously popped into my head, and you really know more. I mean, you prosecuted that case. You know more about this sort of thing than anyone else I can think of. And there just seems to be a lot of similarities here. And the first thing I thought with this Ohio case, which also relates to Turpin, is like, how did no one know 16 kids in this house? How are we just now hearing about this? How did they just now find them?
Well, hi, Brian. It's nice to see you again. Thanks for having me. I mean, that was the exact question we had with the Turpin kids, too. And what I think it comes down to is just, people's lives are so busy. You go to work, you come home from work, you get your kids, you go to soccer, you go to gymnastics, you do all the things, and you're busy with your own life, and you're not really noticing who your neighbor is. And you're not really noticing, like, oh, that's weird, my neighbor never comes out. We're just so detached, it seems, from one another.
I respect her and I appreciate what she's saying, but I disagree with that. I mean, the community knew that, from what I understand, sometimes the kids some of them would be in the car, but they would not let them come in, like the dollar store, and that they were very filthy, the adults, when they went in the dollar stores.
So I think it's very easy for these kids to slide under the radar. At least it was very easy for the Turpin kids too. And the other thing was, they weren't attending public school. They had never been registered in the local public school or the school district.
Very possible.
And so really the local Board of Education, local school districts did not know that these kids even existed in their community, or that they were potential students that should be attending. Now with the Turpin case, as you know, there was that oversight with the not the Board of Education, the state, who Luis and David Turpin had been applying for their homeschool license, and had somebody come out earlier from the state to check.
And again, I think homeschool is a blessing for some people, but I think there needs to be a way more stricter criteria on following these kids, particularly from birth to 5 years old, whenever they start school as well.
Make sure it was a legitimate homeschool program, then maybe they would have been found sooner. But that begs the question, like, how do they just fly under the radar and nobody sees them or knows them or even knows they exist for decades? It's so sad.
With the Turpins, were there ever neighbors who called in anything or noticed anything strange?
Yeah, so there was neighbors in Texas that noticed, kind of right when all of it began and Luis started acting very strange and taking the kids out of school. There was an opportunity for the local school district there, and there was a neighbor in Texas, actually. There was also a pastor when Jennifer ran away that had contact and realized something weird was going on, but they chose to take the kids right back to David and Luis. When they moved into that Marietta house, there were a couple neighbors that came forward and said that they noticed weird things, like only certain kids would come out, but they would see other kids, like silhouettes, marching upstairs, that they knew there were more children in that house. But again, nobody acted or did anything.
So I keep hearing from my friends about how much they love Factor.
1 second. I got something else to show you guys in just a second.
With 15, 14, 13, 11, 10, 8, 6, 5, 4-year-old twins, 2-year-old twins, and 1.5-year-old twins. So they had 3 sets of twins. But no one really knows for sure, like, and I hate to say this, but like we don't seem to know for sure that those are all the mom and the dad's kids. Like, it seems like a lot of kids.
I mean, they could be some of the older kids, the older man. You just don't know. You know what I mean? Look at these pictures right here. I've got some warning again. Here's more photos of in the house. Very, I guess this is like the basement. I cannot even begin to think of the smell. Can't even imagine.
For just them, you know?
Right. And very close in age. It does beg the question, you know, is there going to be some type of DNA done or some type of further investigation to figure out, are they all mom and dads?
You damn right.
It's a valid question. With the Turpins, we were pretty confident that all 13 children did belong to David and Louise, as far as that is concerned.
Just mentally, psychologically, like, what is going on with these parents? I mean, this is a really big question, I know, but those are your own kids. It's your own blood. How does it get to this point where they're living in filth? They're chained up with the Turpins. Similar situations, and they were living in a 12 by 12 room in Ohio. Like, how do people get to a place where they're doing this to their own kids?
I mean, Brian, that is the $1 million question.
Got some pictures of the car.
I don't know. It's so callous, and
I'm never going to look at DoorDash again the same. I'm going to show you guys a picture. Guys, oh my God. I got the fucking chills. Look at this. He worked for DoorDash. Yeah. That's inside the car. You want some ketchup packets? You want some ketchup packets? Well, you know, at least he wasn't an Uber. At least Gary wasn't an Uber. Thank you, Donna. Appreciate you, babe. Thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate you, my dear. Sorry. I can't get that picture out of my head. Thank you so much, Donna. I just feel so horrible for those kids, man. So bad. You know something? I bet you those kids, even when they were taken to fresh air, probably still couldn't smell fresh air for days because of just what had collected. It smells like cheese and onions in there. Whoa, I don't think it smells like piss. Thank you, Dawn. I appreciate you, babe.
It's so, I mean, there's no words to describe, right? How a mother and a father who bear these children can turn and put them into the conditions, or even themselves live in those conditions, you know, where it's so filthy and there's rats and there's feces. Nobody in their right mind would want to live in that. So it begs the question, what is going on with these parents and why? What is their motive for wanting to produce all these children and then just treat them in this manner? I think there's got to be some mental health things going on, some control issues. I know that David and Louise, at some point, they tried to point fingers. At some point, you know, they tried to blame it on past traumas.
I kind of feel like Gary Jr. wanted to keep Elizabeth pregnant. And that's what I think. I think he wanted to keep her pregnant.
All of the kids typically, though, had the same story, that it was a gradual demise. It wasn't always so bad, that Louise started out little by little. And it's almost like with each chaining of one child, then it became easier to chain them for longer. And then with each forcing a child to skip a meal,
Thank you
it
again,
became
Donna.
easier to make
Appreciate
all
you,
of them
babe.
skip a meal. And then with chaining one, it became easier to
Thank you,
chain
love.
two. And then they just kind of got used to this rhythm of adding horrific things. And I mean, to the point where they were at where they're chained and they're in cages and they're
Really?
living in
I didn't
deplorable
see that
conditions.
one.
I don't know, though, the answer to that question of how a parent gets to that point. It's horrible.
Was it a religious thing with the Turpins at first?
I mean, there was some evidence of that yes, it was this multi different religions that they had kind of meshed into one. Some things from Buddhism, some things from Christianity, some things from atheism. It was a very strange.
I got a picture of the kitchen, guys.
How they spoke about the religion, but nonetheless, there was this love for God within all of the children when we met them, and even I think till to this day, a lot of them really have a deep faith. But I don't think that it was the religion that they had created that sent them down this road to live in these conditions. And with Dave and Louise, it was interesting when it got so bad for them in Texas.
Y'all ready for, and again, the Turpin family, they moved around too, right? Kitchen. There's the kitchen. Oh, thank you, Smiley. I sent you something in message. Might want to. Okay, thank you. Did you text it or Messenger, Facebook? Did the Turpin family receive government help? That's a good question. I think he was an engineer, if I recall correctly. Okay, let me see.
They actually went and lived in a hotel and let the kids stay in those horrible conditions. So, I mean, it is just,
Let the kids
it's unexplainable.
fucking.
Do they claim to love their kids?
Oh, yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
How do you even explain that? I mean,
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I mean, probably you would analogize it to the domestic violence, right? Where a partner beats up their other partner in a horrible way, but still claims it's in the name of love. And it was just a overreaction or all of the excuses that they use, but they call that love as well, which is equally disturbing.
with the Ohio case, I was watching the sheriff. He was explaining that some of the kids can't even really speak. Like even the older kids don't have like language skills. The 18-year-old, he said, couldn't write her name. Like with the Turpins, how difficult was it to communicate with them initially?
You know, Brian, that was almost an identical thing that we struggled with the Turpins. And in fact, I think when Diane Sawyer had the 911 call come out and you saw Jordan Turpin trying to explain to the detective what the chain, like the bruises on the wrist were, she kept calling them the places.
Yeah.
She didn't know the grammatical word to use. That it was, my brother is chained up and he has bruises on him. She kept calling it the places. And you can see the deputy is like, I don't know what she's talking about. He was thinking about calling in a 5150 hold. Same with the medications. She couldn't read or say the word medication. She couldn't say her street name. And there was this cadence about all of those children that was very present when we first rescued them. You could hear that there was a different cadence, almost like their own language that you could visibly hear when you spoke to them. And I believe it's the same with these Ohio kids because, you know, when you're not exposed to the outside world and you're not exposed to individuals who have accents, individuals who have English as their second language, we pick up a lot of those social skills and how we speak to one another. And when you don't have any of that because you are completely isolated, it shows a very similar pattern in their language and how they speak. Similar with the Turpin kids, they were.
You know, when we learn around us from everybody, especially when we are babies, infants, we are a sponge. We are picking up behaviors, language, cadence, to how we speak and all that as well. No one is speaking out on behalf of any of the adults, like any kind of defense. Interesting. I don't think really anybody, like, first of all, they didn't live in one place very long, it seemed like, to begin with, because they were constantly running.
Going to school, they weren't being homeschooled by Louise, so they didn't know how to write their names. You know, those poor kids were rescued and got thrown into the foster care system and had to go to elementary school at the age that they were. So they got thrown into 4th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, yet they had never been to school. They don't know 4th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade work. And I would imagine the Ohio children are in the exact same boat.
Most important.
Is it complicated for them, like with the Turpins, and I'm thinking of these Ohio kids, emotionally, like, even though you've been abused so badly, that's the only life you've ever known.
Yep.
And suddenly you're pulled out of that. Like, I even think about it.
That's I was kind of speaking on that the other day when I was talking about this case. I've talked about this even when I did foster care. These children, because it is the only life that they know, and their parents or caregiver can be the absolute biggest abusive piece of crap, but these children will still defend them because it's the only life that they know. And it's kind of like I was saying earlier, a lot of times people that are victims, or they don't realize that they're victims, right? They just have no idea that they're victims because it's all that they know. And that goes for probably these kids, and that's why I kind of have some compassion more for Elizabeth, because you got to remember some of the kids' ages that she has now. She was married at that age and having children, right? So you kind of, in my opinion, you got to have some compassion for Elizabeth. She's got kids right now, ages when, like she was, and she was already married and having kids. But you can be a victim and also be a villain.
I've heard from people who were like in prison for a long time, like in a way they miss prison because of the routine, and that's all they knew for like 40, 50 years. You know what I mean?
Really?
Is it a similar thing?
Yes. There was some of the children of those 13 in the Turpin case that, you know, they appreciated their freedom, but there was definitely some who had that very sentiment where they just wanted to go back to what was familiar. And the other thing that was hard, and I'm sure it's the same way in Ohio with Child Protective Services, you know, if you're over the age of 18, even though you have the...
Yep. Yes, Maria. The cashier at the Dollar General said Gary would lead Elizabeth around the store by her elbow and then kiss her 3 to 4 times before he went out while she checked out. I believe, in my opinion, that Gary Jr. is a jealous piece of garbage. I do. And I believe that is the only reason he had her always pregnant. He's very insecure. He's very insecure, so bad that he constantly kept her knocked up. Be damned the kid's health. He just wanted her pregnant. That's it. That's it. That's what I said earlier. That's what I agree right now. And this SOB, there's so many men like that. My God, you gotta lead someone around a dollar store and you gotta kiss them 3 times while your checking out while you going to sleep with someone right in the middle of the dollar store. I could not imagine having a jealous man or woman like that. Like, if you think I'm going to sleep with someone, like, I just don't know how people live like that. If you can't trust someone, bye. Oh, yeah. I've seen it too. Yeah.
Mentality and the education level of maybe a 7-year-old, they can't go into foster care. They've aged out of the system. So all of the children over the age of 18 will have to go into adult protective.
Every day. Debbie, I told a story here. She was my aunt, I guess you could say, by marriage, if you will. But she was way older than me. Like, she's not my aunt, but she's like, she's like a really close friend of the family. She's like family. But anyway, when I was a kid, I went over to her, I would go over to their son's house and all that. And she had a boyfriend there. And like, the boyfriend was so jealous of me. Like, so jealous of me. And one day he like started screaming at me and all that. And I'm thinking, bitch, what am I going to do? Do her hair? Fix her makeup? Like, you are so... I was a kid. I was a teenager. You know what I mean? I'm like, first of all, when I talk, a purse falls out of my mouth. That would give you, I don't know, maybe clue number 1. Like, what am I going to do? Come the hell on. You know? It's amazing how people are so jealous. You know what I mean? It's like,
services, and the children will have to go through child protective services, which means all 16 of them will be split up. And I think that was particularly, even to this moment in time, the most difficult things the Turpin kids have had to deal with is all of the siblings. They only had each other. They were each other's friends. They were each other's confidants. You know, Jordan would do her YouTube videos, and her other sister would be her lookout for her. And that was all she had when she was in that home with David and Louise. And when they were rescued, all of that was taken away. They got split up. And that was a very, very difficult thing for them to deal with. And I hope the Ohio kids don't have to deal with that, because having each other, I think, probably would be easier. But the realities of the system is they're likely split up, which is an added emotional pressure that they're going to have to deal with living in society that they've never lived in and dealing with social norms that they've never dealt with before for years.
How does it make any sense to split?
Yeah, I wonder if, like, did she breastfeed these kids? Did she bottle feed them? Justin, you're making me laugh.
Them up. I mean, it just seems like with everything that they've been through, like with the Turpins, did they not consider at least keeping them together, or maybe keeping half of them together or something like that?
I think they did try to keep
and you know, that's what kind of makes you wonder again, Natalie, right? The outside was relatively clean. The grass was mowed, you know, was a little tall, but you know, it wasn't, the city was on you yet, right? Enter a room purse first, as RuPaul would say. That's right.
a few of them together, and at times a few of them were together. But as far as the adults, all of the children that were over the age of 18 had to be put in adult protective services, and the children that
the back door was junked, right? But you couldn't see that. You really couldn't see that from the road. And to be honest with you, it's Appalachia. That's a normal house in Appalachia. It's just a average, lower
were under the age of 18 had to be put in foster homes. So there was no way to have all of them combined because of the age group and because of the different agencies that were responsible for them. So, and it's difficult to find a foster home that wants to take in 13 people or 16 kids in the Ohio case. You know, that's a lot to ask of a foster family who also has no training whatsoever in this specific type of trauma, right? How often do we hear about dozens of children being chained up together, not fed? You know, we don't hear about that very often. And so therefore, most foster parents aren't going to know how to deal with that situation, sadly.
I don't know what you mean.
So you can't really throw 13 or 16 of them into one home just because of logistics and because of training and the trauma and all of the things that go with it. But it's the most difficult on the kids.
Yeah, so with the Ohio case, there were 2 that had to be airlifted even. That's how serious the injuries were. 7 went to the hospital, 2 had to be airlifted. They won't give specifics on like what the injuries are, but what comes to...
And that's the thing, right? Like, that's the thing I don't understand. Yet there's 16 kids in this home. Kids get sick. Kids get sick. And you got to take them to the doctor. Or did they just never go to the pediatrician, to the doctor, to urgent care? Did they just, your body took care of it, or you died? Their health has to be poor. They probably have very strong immune systems.
Mind. I mean, I know they were living in filth.
Oh, I mean, they're probably emaciated. They probably don't have enough, enough food in their system to keep them alive. We had that issue.
Well, the one set of twins, they were at a funeral home. The kids' mouths must have been in pain with no dental care. Oh God, yeah. That's sad.
And that concern with 1 or 2 of the Turpin kids, that there was a very serious moment in time where the doctors at Corona Regional didn't know or had said if they would have lived in these conditions even 48 hours to 72 hours longer, there's a good chance they would have died from starvation, essentially.
Same in this case.
And I would imagine that's probably the same thing that's happening there.
Exactly same in this case.
With the Turpins, once they got into the system, you mentioned like foster care, there was more abuse.
Yes. And it wasn't just the abuse of their foster family. It was the mental and the emotional abuse that also came with it. Because you got to remember, Brian, most of us would not know what to do with a child who had been eating only a peanut butter sandwich every single day, right? You would take that child into your home and you would think, I want to cook them a feast every single night and I want to make them eat dinner and eat lunch and breakfast and pancakes. But for a child who's only been eating a peanut butter sandwich for the last decade of their life, there's a very specific way in which you must reintroduce food. And those children don't know about how to chew meat. It's almost like teaching an infant how to eat all over again. And so then you have foster families getting frustrated because they don't have training in how to feed these children. And the children are getting sick because they're actually eating and they're not being introduced to food properly. So you have the struggle that the children already have with food that's been created because they've been deprived of it for so long, mentally and emotionally, but physically, their little bodies are just unable to process the food because their bodies have not been taught to do that. Then you have the emotional that they're trying to overcome, right? Their parents are now in jail. They're split up from their siblings.
That's a very good point. I covered a case in one of the saddest cases of Pennsylvania, and it was my mind, I can't think right now. Help me out, Mohawk. I keep wanting to say Emily. Her name's wasn't. It's Renesmee Utsi. She was unalived. Horrible neglect, but her siblings was in the hospital, and the child just about died from just just reintroducing food. Just the sheer fact of reintroducing food, from it being so long, the child had to be put in a coma. I mean, we're talking about cases so severe, like prisoners of war. It's that bad. One of the saddest cases I've ever talked about.
And then you're thrown into a foster family where they're abusive, physically, verbally. They're, their international
It was so bad.
things are much different than what the Turpin kids were used to dealing with, the food, all of the things. And yeah, it made for a very chaotic, traumatic foster home for them. And the district attorney's office in Riverside did file against their adoptive parents, the Olgings, for, I believe it was sexual and physical misconduct on
Senior
those
Tracy
kids,
Z.
the younger Turpin kids, after they had been rescued.
But with a case as high profile as the Turpins, like I would have thought they would have found them like the greatest foster family or kept a closer eye on that.
Yeah, you would have thought. You would have thought. It's horrible. And there was some issues with the adult kids too. There was no life coaching given to them. There was no there was no oversight, and you saw those kids living in deplorable conditions in areas that were not safe whatsoever. The adult kids didn't have driver's license, so they were walking to and from in gang-infested territory. And that was what we did with the adult Turpin kids. You would think that the most highly publicized abused children in America, you're right, would have better conditions and would have the best out there. But that's not what happened. And I hope to God that is not what happens to the Ohio kids.
Yeah, I hope so too. The lawyer who's representing the wife in Ohio spoke, and it already sounds like is trying to paint her as a victim under the husband, that she was abused.
Okay.
Was that did something like that happen with the Turpins too?
It did. Louis.
Okay, so we're going to end right there for that one. I want to show you guys, speaking of victim, just a little bit ago, the attorney for Elizabeth just now gave his first national interview. This is the attorney for Elizabeth Ciders, from what I understand. So here we go. This is credit's going to go to our friends at News Nation. Guys, if you're just joining us, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Greatly appreciate you. Also share the live out for the replay crew and live chat after this live stream if you would consider hyping this video, and commenting down below to help the algorithm food. It's algorithm food whenever you hit the thumbs up, when you share it out, when you hype it, and when you comment down below. Algorithm food.
What can you tell us that gives any perspective other than the obvious on the role of the mother in this?
Well, Chris, this is a situation that has been absolutely sensationalized by the media.
Old man
Just
guys.
by listening to your lead in on this story, you are capturing the essence of the issue here. We're talking about a headline that reads, "A House of Horrors, Pure Evil." That is the description that the Ohio Attorney General used. And I believe that that is probably the reason that we're here today doing this interview.
Now, I will say that this attorney annoys me. But I will say that he's a good attorney, which is exactly what he should be doing. He should be fighting like hell for his client, which is what he's supposed to do. He's being an attorney, a defense attorney.
Interview is because the Ohio Attorney General and now picked up by the media, is using this inflammatory and invocative language. So we are at the very early stages of this investigation. I was able to meet with my client, Elizabeth. I've met with her now 3 times. The person that I met does not come across as pure evil. The person that I met comes across as a mother who has been separated from her children, who is exhausted, and who misses her children. And
I mean, look at her right there, guys. She looks like she's seen a ghost. You know what I mean? Like, she's definitely not been out in the sun. She looks, I mean, I don't know. To me, the mom, or the grandma, if you will, there, Christina Siders, she looks more with it. But again, I think she can be a victim and a perpetrator at the same time.
And is asking me constantly what she needs to do to see her children again, what she needs to do to ultimately be reunited with her children. That does not jive with the prosecutor's narrative. It doesn't jive with the attorney general's narrative. And I think because of that language that was used so early on in this case, we are sitting here now having to defend that on television and in the...
I mean, listen, he's being an attorney, he's being a defense attorney. He's not going to argue for his client, but I don't care what he says. He can say it till the day of judgment. This is not normal. That is not normal. That is a house of horrors, in my opinion. And there's no other way to put that. That is a house of horrors. That's a house of horror. No other way to put it. I mean, children were about dead. Truly about dead. Hours. 1 or 2 were in critical condition.
Media, instead of in a court of law.
Somebody's got to pay.
Well, that's a choice, and I'm interested in this, and I think it's helpful for us to understand these situations. Let me ask you something. Have you seen any of the children?
I have not seen any of the children at this point. They are...
So then you don't know.
Are being placed
way,
by the South Central Ohio Job and Family Services.
Have you seen any reports on the condition of the children?
I have not. At this point, again, we are so early on in this case.
Okay, well then let Chris fill you in on that, sir.
My office does not even have discovery from the prosecutor's office yet. We have
so you haven't seen you haven't seen the kids, you haven't seen the medical records yet because it's very early on. Let me ask you, counsel, where does your sense of righteousness come from when you don't know what you're talking about?
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Where does your holier than thou mother chicken righteous self-righteousness come in at? Okay, I understand she's your client, but what about the 16 children who can't even speak English or a language for that matter? Where's that? God, Chris, I could just kiss you right now. Thank you for that, sir. Just going to back that out a little bit. And by the way, the prosecutors and the emergency personnel, they certainly know what those kids look like.
You haven't seen the kids, You haven't seen the medical records yet because it's very early on. Let me ask you, counsel, where does your sense of righteousness come from when you don't know what you're talking about?
Boom.
Well, Chris, here's the thing. I've been able to meet with my client. I've spoken to Elizabeth. I'm a criminal defense attorney. Chris, I know you're an attorney too. I sit across from people in the jail all the time. I can get a sense of what someone is thinking, what someone is feeling. It is very clear that Elizabeth Ciders cares about these kids. In the hours and hours that I sat there in the jail, she keeps directing the conversation back to, are the kids okay?
Well, you don't know if the kids are okay, right? Because you say you don't know their condition or anything else.
She's been receiving care packages in the jail, Chris. And today she tried to give me some of the items from her care package to give to the kids.
Do you see the pictures of the home that I'm showing there right now? The descriptions of officers of the conditions and the amount of feces and how they had a hard time staying conscious when they were in there and thought they had to call hazmat. Is that how you think children are normally kept by caring mothers?
So the pictures that I'm seeing now are pictures from outside the home. And I want to make it clear that any of the pictures...
No. Why don't you just... I mean, if it's such a good environment and she's... Respectfully, I say this because I do believe, in my opinion, Elizabeth is a victim in her own right. But if she's so caring and all of that, well, how about maybe you stay in the house if it's so good? Because I can't even imagine a rat or a roach living in that condition. Catherine, thank you so much, honey. I appreciate you. He is doing... he came off the vent yesterday, and they did another scan on him after 24 hours, and he's doing as, for what he went through, because it was really touch and go for a minute, he's doing as good as he could possibly do. Thank you, Lord. And thank you so much for asking, Catherine. Thank you so much for your support as well, my dear. It's very kind of you. Really appreciate that, my love. Not even beds. No, there's not a bed in. I mean, there was a mattress laying on the floor that was full of urine, feces, and mold and mildew.
Window. There's a window.
Okay. Yes, into the front room there. I don't know the specific layout of the home at this point. I'm sure that's something that we'll learn in discovery. But I think that it's important to remember that all members of the Ciders family were living in this home. This was my client as well as the rest of the family living in this home. The notion that these kids were somehow confined to this 12 by 12 space is pure conjecture. There is no evidence to support that these kids were in any way restrained in this room. There's no evidence to suggest.
Okay, then, in my opinion, you, Mr. Attorney, defense attorney, if you say there's no evidence that they were confined into this area, then please show us some evidence of the children being out into the world. Show us some evidence of that. Show us some evidence of them at a ball game, or at a friend's sleepover, or at a birthday party, or even a store for that matter. I understand you're a defense attorney and you're defending your client, but man, it's got to be hard defending this. And listen, Christina, all four of them deserve counsel, and good counsel for that matter. Sharon, thank you so much, my dear. Appreciate you. She kept asking and asking because if one had died or found dead, they would have different charges. Don't be fooled. I agree with that, Sharon. I agree with that, because we got to remember, 2 of them were, I think weren't they life flighted or something? They were certainly in ICU, touch and go. So well stated, Sharon. I agree. And if they hadn't have been there, if, like I said, I believe it's a miracle that they came when they did to do the warrant for Gary Jr., because they might be, I mean, the kids aren't out of the woods yet anyways. They could be facing a lot different charges. Yeah. Yep. 2 of them. Yeah. Life flighted. Yeah. Such good conditions, right?
Suggest that these kids were not allowed to go outside of this home. This is a case, Chris, and it's a case that is far too often true here in Southeast Ohio. This is a case of poverty. This may be a case of isolation. It may be a case of parents getting in over the...
Okay, you just said isolation, but you said they weren't confined at all.
Their head when it comes to their children and their family. But this is a case of these people living together here.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and down.
What the fuck? Hold on. I need the rest of that interview. Hold on. No. I thought that was the whole interview. 1 second. We got to find the rest of that interview. He's a good attorney, I got to say. He is a good attorney, which is good, but let me see here. Ciders. Okay. Here we go. Why are they just showing that? 1 second. They're not showing the whole interview on here. I don't understand it. They're only showing 4 minutes and 43 seconds on their website. Maybe they'll show the rest later. One second. Maybe they'll show the maybe let me check on the YouTube and see if it's on YouTube. News Nation Ciders family. Maybe this isn't. Okay, here's the other part. 1 second.
Other than the obvious, tell us that gives any perspective other than the obvious on the role of the mother in this.
Well, Chris, this is a situation that has been absolutely sensationalized by the media. Just by listening to your lead in on this story, you are capturing the essence of the issue here. We're talking about a headline that reads, "A house of horrors, pure evil." That is the description that the Ohio Attorney General used. And I believe that that is probably the reason that we're here today.
Hold on, is this the same thing?
I was able to meet with my client.
Have you seen any of the children?
Make it clear that any of the pictures.
There's a window.
Okay.
There's a window.
Okay. Maybe not. Okay, yeah, I wanted to show you this one right here, but let me play this one real quick.
In response to the recent House of Horrors case out of Vinton County, Ohio, where 16
Wait till
children
you
were
see
removed
this
from a
next
home
thing.
in
Wait till you see
deplorable
this.
conditions, 7 News reporter Alex Taylor sat down with community leaders and law
So
enforcement
bad.
who say the conditions behind this case call for more awareness in our local communities. She has the story now from the 7 studio.
30th Vinton County Sheriff's deputies arrived at a home in Hamden, Ohio, where investigators say 16 children had been living in unimaginable conditions. 7 were taken to hospitals, including 2 flown to trauma centers in critical condition. The children's parents and 2 grandparents now face multiple child endangerment charges.
Wait till you hear
The
this
case
first
disturbed
responder.
much of the country, but here in the Ohio Valley, the people who were closest to vulnerable families say it didn't surprise them at all.
Did it shock you when you saw it?
Sadly, no.
Jefferson County Sheriff Fred
Thank you
Abdallah
for the
says
gifts,
while
babies.
the case involving 16 children is rare, the underlying issues are not. He shared that his deputies regularly encounter children living in neglect, abuse, and unstable homes.
People in this county would be shocked to realize exactly how some children are living. But sometimes it's a matter of people with just ignorance of they've been raised and they were, it's like generations of people who grew up in a lifestyle that's not normal.
I mean, these people were on the run.
And sadly, we've had those issues here in this county.
Those same cycles are something Molly McGovern sees every day. As executive director of the Friendship Room in Steubenville,
Baby
she works
monkey.
directly with families experiencing homelessness, addiction, and extreme poverty.
It seemed to get worse. It really did. It really did. I wonder if it got worse because of the size of that home, right? The size of the home really matters as well. You can't have 16 people stepping over one of another in a 10-foot by 10-foot or 12 by 12 room.
I think one of the main things I noticed that was troubling me is how many people are rightfully horrified, but how they're also surprised.
A lot.
And I'm not surprised.
McGovern says while the Vinton County case may represent a severe example, the living conditions she encounters every day often tell a similar story.
This isn't a one-off situation. Maybe the extreme of it is a one-off. We can hope and pray that it is.
She's right.
Sadly, being street level, I have seen very, very similar situations daily. And it is very much third world conditions. And when I first started, I had never seen third world condition. I did not know, nor would I have believed what I now see as much more common in our area than I think the average resident knows.
Stating that many families
She's not
aren't
wrong.
choosing these conditions intentionally. They're repeating neglectful behaviors that they've lived their entire lives in. McGovern says poverty alone
I
isn't
don't
the
know about the
cause for
grandma.
unsafe living conditions.
When you have generational poverty
I mean,
and generational
think that's what I've wondered, Susan. Standing room only? I mean, how does 16 children plus 4 adults, right? How do they sleep in a place where there's no fucking beds? How do they sleep? Welcome, John.
depression and no hope for anything being different or better, because your parents, your grandparents have never seen anything better. So why would you see anything better?
She and the sheriff agree that real change comes from helping them before a crisis, like the one in Vinton County, reaches that level of severity.
Show them other resources as well, to encourage them that it is possible to get people to come in and help you clean your house. Instead of always being penalized, giving them the opportunities that they can have a fresh made bed. They can have a refrigerator that works. They can have clean sofa to sit on that's not bug infested and filled with mildew. So many of these people have grown up generationally in these conditions that this is not startling to them. They have learned this is the norm. This is the average lifestyle of what we can expect.
And Sheriff Abdallah says law enforcement can't solve the problem alone.
You think so?
Often the first people to notice something wrong aren't deputies.
You know, I think Elizabeth, again, I believe Elizabeth is a victim in her own right, as, you know, this happened when, you know, she was married very young, had children very young and all that. But I believe Gary Jr. was extremely abusive to Elizabeth. And I feel like Gary and Christina, the mom, are the head honchos.
Their neighbors, teachers, family members, or friends.
I'm going to show you
if you see
first
something,
responder
you
in a
gotta say
second.
something. It's better to be safe than sorry.
From his perspective, community resources remain stretched thin, making partnerships with organizations like the Friendship Room more important than ever.
There are never enough resources. I'm thankful for the resources that we do have in this county. Countless times we've called to the
Let me
Friendship
look
Room
on
and
that. I want to look on that because I want to look when the first set of twins was born, because generally, I mean, you can have twins at any age, but generally in your 30s, you start dropping more eggs, if you will. And that's when people generally start having twins, or larger women as well tend to have twins, or as well. So
McGovern for assistance in housing or getting people
excuse me, gosh,
the things that they might need. But there's
Okay,
never
let me show you
enough
this.
resources, you know, and the need is always there.
For McGovern, the goal is breaking generational cycles before
Watch this.
families reach a point of crisis.
But to build a relationship slowly so people know they can trust you, and then we can take the appropriate steps to make lasting changes, to bring about lasting hope. Not just
Take a look at
small
this.
names, not
I have
just
goose
make
eggs,
fun
Justin.
of. That doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anything.
Look at this
The children
picture.
disappear. We never hear from them. The children never get help unless we come at it with much more kindness, much more education, and much.
This is Elizabeth right here. Someone wrote, the prosecutor asked today, or they was asked today, if the children had birth certificates. He had a very long pause and said, quote, "We have not collected all birth certificates as of now," end quote. It's been over a week already. I would assume that if they were all born at the hospital, they would be able to find their birth certificates. Elizabeth's attorney said that she doesn't think of herself as a victim and that she did have them all at local hospitals. She must have given her lawyer all the birth certificates. She must have given the lawyer all of their birth dates and names herself. And that makes me wonder here if Miss Elizabeth, like, the prosecutor did say that they didn't have all the birth certificates yet. You would think that they would be able to get those birth certificates just really with a warrant and a call. Were they all really born at the hospital? I don't know. They are living like a litter of wolves and caged animals. Do you think some of the older teenagers may have had some babies? There is truly nothing that would surprise me once all this DNA and stuff is back. Nothing would surprise me at this point. I want to show you WSYX did a very good. WSYX did a interview with one of the first responders. Wait till you hear this. Wait till you hear this. No, it's hard to get some of the birth certificates. My youngest son was born at home. He still has. Yeah, I mean, you can be born at home. If okay, for instance, if she had a midwife, that's true. Like if she had a midwife, she could be, you can still have a birth. There's a lot of home births. So they had an ambulance full of children in the back, and they had to, take them, and they had potentially come back. So how many states did they live in? I think 3. Some were home deliveries with the midwife. Supposedly, the midwife is a mandated reporter on delivery. Yes. Yep. They have to register the birth. Yep.
We're a tiny community. Hamden doesn't have that many people.
Thank you, Amanda, for the
Vinton
gift.
County
Appreciate you.
and the whole spec of it doesn't have a lot of resources. So we contacted Jackson County, and they got more squads there, first responders. And they arrived pretty quickly as well. And I mean, it was a situation we're not used to dealing with.
Well, no, the prosecutor said, again, the question to the prosecutor was asked, did all of the children's have birth certificates? And very long pause, and he said, we have not collected all birth certificates as of right now. It's been a week already. I would assume if they were all born at the hospital or had birth certificates, they would be able to find the birth certificates. Elizabeth's attorney said that she doesn't think of herself as a victim, and she did not have them all at local hospitals. She must have given her attorney all of the birth dates and names herself. So different states. So I don't know. To me, it's really complicated with Elizabeth. For me, it's complicating. Thank you, John. Appreciate you. Welcome to the Pearl family, my friend. Y'all welcome, John, to the Pearl family. Appreciate you, my friend. I'm sure the birth certificate was a priority. I mean, she obviously had to have given the birth dates because we have all the birth dates of the children. It's amazing she could remember all that. Or maybe she had it all written down. I hope that Ellie and EMS, etc., are also getting. Oh, I'm sure. I hope, man.
No.
Opinion. I believe Gary Ciders Jr., her husband, wanted her pregnant always because I think he was very jealous, just like the Dollar General cashier said. The cashier said he would hold her like by her arm or by her elbow and just guide her all around the store, and while they were checking out, he would kiss her like on the lips 3 or 4 times. He's just a jealous, controlling freak is what he is. No, as long as he isn't talking about anyone in specific, about their specific health condition, no, he won't. Oh my God in heaven. I didn't think about that. I did not think about that. The rats, what they do to those kids. Oh my God. Oh my God. You know, rats have been known to disfigure and unalive babies. Me too, Grace. I'm itching all over too right now. When there is that much pungent bacteria and stuff that is around you, like I told you guys, when I worked in the funeral home, we couldn't wear hairspray, or you couldn't wear makeup or anything if you were working downstairs, because it will stick to you. Yes, plus the illness that you can get from the rats, mice, bugs, excrement. How incredibly sad. I mean, just the ammonia from the urine and the feces.
Elementary school age?
Yes.
Hold on, what? What do you say?
Seeing children like that, and I think Sheriff Ryan Kane kind of touched on that. Our livestock around here live in better conditions.
Our livestock around here live in better conditions. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'd rather be in a barn with some clean hay or straw or at least outside where there's fresh air. Thank you, baby kisses. Appreciate you, babies. Thank you so much. If you receive that, please make sure you give our baby kisses a big old thank you. I like your chicken, by the way. I just noticed that. I like your chicken. The sheriff sure did say that at a presser. Didn't the kids complain on a daily itchy and hurting? You see, this is the thing. Our, kids that live a normal life, if they have a discomfort, they complain. When these kids live in this, it's just their life. It's just their life. They're used to it, yes. That house needs to be burnt, in my opinion. That has to be condemned, in my opinion. Can you imagine the smell of dead rats in there? There had to be some. I don't think you would be able to distinguish, though. Always late. I don't think you would be able to distinguish a dead rat from anything else, because it's just one putrefaction smell. Think about that. These kids weren't crying. They weren't showing any emotions. It was quiet and just blank stares, and that's what the prosecutor said. He said they were hunched down when he walked in, and they just had almost like a feral, a wildness to their eyes, because they're not used. They can't even speak.
Never endured anything like that before. They didn't know where. I knew it was just quiet.
Can you imagine? Okay, I mean, the closest we could probably think of it is, opening up the door to the outside world, and some alien touches down and puts you in a spaceship. Right? Because, I mean, these kids they don't even know language. And these people automatically come in and they put you in this big truck with a bunch of tubes and things everywhere and lights and sounds and all of that. That's it. They only know the four walls. It's truly otherworldly to them.
That's what it was. Down to the hospital.
Key. One is we have a live stream for mobile devices, and we have a live stream for computers. So you can be in. They're the same thing. It's just a preference. That's just truly otherworldly. They did. I want to show you guys.
Hamden, and we do know.
Look here.
Wait, she gave
16 kids, ages 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18. Those are the ages of the children. She had, when she had the miscarriage of those twins, she ended up having, I don't know if it was another set of twin or a single child exactly 9 months later. Exactly 9 months later. Just the absolute craziest thing I think I've ever seen in my life. I just picture 4 of them sitting together in the car. I want to cry. I'm sure it appeared dilapidated and abandoned from the outside. What, the home here? I don't even know how. I don't know. I bet Elizabeth's mother isn't. I bet Elizabeth isn't mother to all, and possibly some of the other younger girls are the mothers. I just cannot even, they have to be very sensitive in this, because these are living human beings. These are children. And we don't know if there's any, if she had all of these, if any of the teenagers had any, if any of the boys could be the dads, or even the older Ciders Senior. There's just nothing that would surprise me. 3 or 4 sets of twins. One of those sets were conjoined that passed away. And how rare is it to have conjoined twins? Is that inbreeding? I don't know. She's allegedly pregnant now. Yeah, allegedly pregnant now. They married March 31st, 2008. And she has had kids just ever since. And I can't even imagine the amount of, I believe the twins were conjoined because she kept having too many kids, one right after the next. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. There's just nothing that would surprise me in this, right? May 31st, 2008, Gary Ciders Jr. II and Elizabeth Ciders married. Gary was 18, Elizabeth was 15 at their time of marriage. And May 30th, 2008, the oldest child identified in the criminal complaint as CS was born. So March 2008, basically, it's March 31st, but you might as well say April. So she has her first baby 2 months after she's married at age 15. August 17th, 2009, ZS, second child, was born. Count 2 in the criminal complaint alleges endangering children, F2, resulting in serious physical harm. So May 30th, 2008. Okay. May 30th, 2009. May, June, July. Okay. So 15 months later, she has another child. So she got pregnant 5-6 months after having her first kid. March 13th, 2011, CS is born. August 17th, 2009. August 17th, May 17th, 2000. Sorry, August 17th, 2009. 2010. So that's probably her longest stint of not having kids, was between her third and her fourth child. KS was born March 28, 2012. May 8th, 2013 was her fifth kid. September 2nd, 2014, GS the third was born, sixth kid. Seventh kid born May 25th, 2016. October 26, 2017, eighth kid. October 27, 2019, ninth child. 10th child, September 29th, 2020. 2020-21, Vinton County local schools had no record of the family, while Gallia County local schools reportedly had 2021 records showing Gary Ciders II and Elizabeth Siders listed as parents. What's this? Hold on one second. I want to look at this. This is from WSAZ News Channel 3. Okay, here we go. Wait one second.
By Ohio's Attorney General to describe the conditions of a home in Vinton County, Ohio, where 16 children were rescued. It was yesterday. Investigators say they were able to get the children out of that home on Ohmer Street in Hamden. Today, 4 family members appearing in court for arraignment in the case.
That was the children's parents and grandparents, Gary Ciders Sr., Gary Siders Jr., Christina Siders, and Elizabeth Siders, all pled not guilty to more than a dozen child endangerment charges. WSAZ's Charlie Roth is sharing new details tonight about what investigators say those children faced in that home.
In this Vinton County home, investigators say they found 16 children, ranging from 18 months to 18 years, all living in a space that measured about 12 feet by 12 feet.
It depends. It depends. I did, yeah. If so, I have twins. If the embryo, you're right. If it splits, that is an identical twin. If it's fraternal, then 2 eggs drop and both are fertilized.
Of the children needing to be hospitalized, and at least one, according to authorities, on the verge of death.
It looked like almost feral animals. It was terrible.
Most of our livestock was kept.
Conjoined twins, when they are growing inside the womb, I believe
Kept in better conditions.
They
than the
fused
children.
together.
It was extremely high presence, I'm sure, of bacterial and human feces. It was just a disgusting scene.
Wednesday morning, 4 members of the Ciders family arraigned in court on a $300,000 bond. Gary Sr., Gary Jr., Christina, and Elizabeth, all facing 16 counts. Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson.
Okay, let's get the right answer here. Conjoined twins happen when a single fertilized egg splits much later than usual, between 13 and 15 days after conception. The division stops before it is complete, leaving the 2 developing embryos physically connected. An alternative, less common theory suggests that 2 separate early embryos might fuse together. The exact scientific reasons why this happens are still unknown, and it only occurs in about 1 in 50,000 to 1 in 200,000 births. So anywhere from 1 to 50,000 to 1 to 200,000 births conjoined. That's why I said it's extremely rare. And that is actual births. That's not with miscarriages or whatever. No, monofraternal, always.
Saying in his long career, it was one of the worst scenes he's ever witnessed.
I've been in poverty-stricken areas in rural Ohio, and I've just never seen anything like I saw today with respect to those kids. As we sat and we talked about it, the team kind of talked about it. It really looked third world. It's the type of thing that we're not used to seeing here in America, where our children are really our most precious resource.
Wilson saying the family was not enrolled in schools in Vinton County, and that they were able to stay hidden by moving from county to county.
Yeah, well, if you have 2 eggs, they're going to be in 2 sacs, so that would be fraternal twins. Conjoined twins is 1 egg that splits, but they don't split all the way. We don't know. Yeah, and that's what I was asking. I have twins, so that's what she was asking me about, the fraternal thing. But I don't know if their twins is fraternal or identical or both.
We did ask Gallia County local schools if they had any records of the Siders family, and they said they did have records from 2021 that indicated the 2 younger defendants were parents in the school system.
Okay, this is what I wanted to hear. Hold on. Let me play this back.
The Siders family, and they said they did have records saying the family was not enrolled in
resource.
Wilson saying the family was not enrolled in schools in Vinton County, and that they were able to stay hidden by moving from county to county. We did ask Gallia County local schools if they had any records of the Siders family, and they said they did have records from 2021 that indicated the 2 younger defendants were parents in the school system. We've spoken with neighbors and members of the community who told us they had no idea something like this could be happening in this house or in this community.
For just a few minutes, it was unbelievable. Yeah. It's still kind of hard to grasp that would be going on.
Wilson saying that while getting justice is important, the top priority right now is the physical, mental, and emotional health and well-being of the children. With photographer Sarah Bankston, Charlie Roth, WSAZ, Vinton County.
Attorney General Andy Wilson also noting that all of the victims in this case were in that family, and that there was no danger to any other children in the community or to the public.
Okay, someone just sent me this.
For procurement.
And I want to show it to you. 18 births in less than 17 years. 18 births in less than 17 years. Credit's going to go to Local 12. Local 12. Here we go. Wow. This is a story that will be remembered for a long time.
That's right, guys. As I said, I reviewed 15 birth certificates of the 16 victims and 2 death certificates.
When was this? Let's see if I can find that. 18 births in. So she reviewed the birth certificate, so they might have gotten them now. Okay, that's good to know. Listen.
Well, that's right, guys. As I said, I reviewed 15 birth certificates of the 16 victims and 2 death certificates of the twins born in 2022. All records state suspects Elizabeth Siders and her husband, Gary Ciders Jr. as the parents. In fact, that same midwife delivered 6 of the children, 2 born when Elizabeth was legally a child herself. According to the law, is neglect subject to mandatory reporting?
Abuse, neglect, and dependency.
Health professionals in Ohio must contact police or children's services if they suspect child abuse. I obtained records for 18 children that list Vinton County suspects Elizabeth Siders and Gary Ciders Jr. as mom and dad. Their first was born at Holzer Health Systems in Gallia County.
Holzer Health Sentence, or where was it? What is this? ABC 6. 1 second, guys.
When Elizabeth was just 15 years old.
And at least to report it and let the police investigate it.
At that point, legal expert Ron O'Brien says a mandated reporter should be questioning statutory rape.
It would be, as you say, a giant red flag that should warrant further inquiry by both the healthcare professional and the police agencies.
Records show Elizabeth then gave birth to 9 more babies at Holzer over the next decade and a half. O'Brien says that number of children alone should have prompted more questions.
How are you taking care of the children? What kind of birth protection are you utilizing? Do you want to have
Thank you,
more
Leslie.
children?
The next
Thank you,
healthcare
baby.
provider, Ohio Health. Records show Elizabeth Siders gave birth to conjoined twins at Riverside Methodist Hospital in Columbus in 2022.
So some of these, they all got birth certificates, it sounds, or at least 15 of them. Or 16 have birth certificates, it seems like.
Extremely premature. They died after an hour due to respiratory failure.
Let me listen to that part again.
2 extremely
Protection are you utilizing?
care provider, Ohio Health. Records show Elizabeth Siders gave birth to conjoined twins at Riverside Methodist Hospital in Columbus in 2022. Extremely premature. They died after an hour due to respiratory failure. Doctors at Ohio Health O'Blennis Hospital in Athens County delivered another set of twins in 2024 and a 4th set in 2025.
I mean, did the hospital not Was there no warning signs?
I asked Ohio Health Rep in Athens County delivered another set of twins in 2024 and a fourth set in 2025. I asked Ohio Health Reps if they contacted Children's Services.
Yeah.
They responded, because of federal privacy laws.
Yeah, the HIPAA. And you're right, Delia. Women can put any name down on the birth certificate. I think it depends. I don't know if it depends on the state or whatever it needs to, but they definitely need DNA. Definitely.
We aren't legally allowed to share private health information on any patient without their consent. Athens County Children's Services also cited confidentiality when I asked if they acted on any tips. I also pressed the Vinton County prosecutor. Was there any mandatory reporting, especially by hospitals or medical officials?
Yeah, I can't address that, sorry.
Hold on, say that again.
Reporting, especially by hospitals or medical officials.
Yeah, I can't address that, sorry.
Okay, so we don't know. No, the father has to be there to sign it as well. They just can't write anyone, at least not where I had mine. So, sometimes a father is not on a birth certificate as well. That's also common as well. I sometimes fathers are not even. You can leave it blank, technically.
While O'Brien says no criminal laws may have been broken if no reports were made, I asked about any civil liability.
They could be, and certainly it warrants further inquiry.
I asked our legal expert if missing any prenatal or post-birth appointments could be considered neglect. O'Brien, a former Franklin County prosecutor, tells me investigators are likely issuing subpoenas for all of those medical records right now. On your side, I'm Chief Investigator Lisa Rontola.
Is that the
Tonight
same
we're
one?
with those children responded to difficult home on Ohmer Street.
Is this the same one? Oh, let's see what he says here.
Was on that scene last week. Libby, what did you learn today about that
WBNS.
visit?
Well, Jeff, Yolanda, I spoke with Captain Jeremiah Griffith with the Hamden Volunteer Fire Department. He responded to the home on Ohmer Street last week and helped transport some of those children to the hospital. Griffith is from Vinton County and has been a volunteer firefighter for nearly a decade. He says he's responded to difficult calls before, but describes this one as a shock. He and another firefighter were called to the home on Ohmer Street last Tuesday to assist with EMS services. He says by the time he arrived, the 4 Ciders adults had been removed and authorities were in the middle of getting the kids medical care. He was tasked with driving 4 of those children to the hospital and described what he saw.
I know they were shocked.
Allegedly, she is.
They just kind of have a blank expression on their face. Of course, that's maybe something they never dealt with before. So, of course, this is a new environment, new people, and I would be shocked too if it happened to me. The environment they were in, it had the potential to have those kind of bugs and bug scratches, and that's kind of consistent with what we found with the children. And it does break your heart, but at the same time, they have hope now. They have hope for a better future.
We'll hear more from Captain Griffith about what he saw inside the home and how the Hamden community is responding to this case tonight at 11.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Before the charges, did 18 births reveal missed chance to help Vinton County children?
Tonight.
Red flag. Maybe. All right, guys. That's going to do it for me on this one. This is just an absolutely sad, really sad case. I need to thank you guys for your gifts, that you guys have been so generous to me. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate you. Let me also, guys, if you have any information, please send it my way. You'll be, whether it's a link or whatever. 307-228-4906. You can text me. You'll be absolutely anonymous. Or you can email me. alljustice, the number 4, the letter U, at gmail.com. Mods, will you drop that in chat again, please? If you would be so kind. Summer Breeze, thank you so much for the floating heart, my dear. Appreciate you very much. Amanda, thank you for the fortune cookie. That's very generous of you. Appreciate you, Miss Amanda. Summer Breeze, thank you for the rock and roll. Really, really do appreciate you, my darling. Let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah, you guys can send me anything, anytime. We're going to go over something tomorrow, probably with this case. I know you guys have been highly interested in this case. You guys just sent a lot of emails and text with this one. Cosmic, thank you so much for the jewels, my dear. Really, really appreciate you. Leslie, keeping it real. Thank you for the gold coin, my love. Appreciate you. And thank you for the floating heart. Really, really do appreciate you. That's all that it's showing me right now. I don't know if I'm missing. General, good to see you. Thank you, baby. Appreciate you very much. Thank you very much, babes. Very kind of you. How you doing today, General? Thank you, John. Welcome. Appreciate you. Thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate your input. Very valuable. To appreciate that. Thank you, Green Eyes. Guys, if I missed your gift, it is, I promise you, it's never intentional. Hopefully my mods, thank you. I'm sure they did. They are great at that. So yeah, if you guys have any information on this case or another case, please let me know. I will see you guys, Lord willing, tomorrow. Hopefully going to be doing 2 live streams tomorrow. There's so much, many live streams I have with information. There's just not enough hours in the day. And I go live and I end up talking for 3 hours and 20 minutes like I did in this one because there's so much to it and I still didn't cover everything. But there's some stuff coming about of Javia, and I'm always trying to keep Jack and Lily's case, talking about it because I don't want it to slip away. Also, there's an Amber. Wait, before I go, hold on. Let me see if that Amber Alert's still active. Okay. Okay, it was canceled. Thank God. Okay. There was an Amber Alert in Yukon, Canada, for a 6-year-old boy, but it's been canceled. So I got that taken care of. Thank God he's okay. May everyone sleep peacefully tonight and not have horrible premenopause night sweats like me. Bad girl. Bless you, my dear. Bless you. There's a missing soldier out of Fort Hood. Really? Let me see. Missing. Family pleads for missing. Finding missing activity duty, Fort Bragg. Show you that real quick. Credit's going to go to Queen City News.
His house now has been missing since June the 29th. He never showed up to formation at Fort Bragg that day. His mother says that He was also struggling with his mental health and now struggling to be able to find his way outside the military. She says just days before his disappearance, Anderson told her that his wife wanted a divorce. Days earlier, court records show the 25-year-old was arrested at a Fayetteville hotel for trespassing after officers say he refused to leave a room after his credit card declined the charge for an extra night.
And I'm just hoping and praying that my son was just scared.
God, she looks familiar.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Just scared that he needed a break.
Spokesperson with the 3rd Corps Sustainment Command at Fort Bragg says in a statement the Army is now working with local law enforcement and the Department of the Army Criminal Investigation Division to locate Specialist Anderson and ensure his safe return.
Queen City News Plus.
Okay.
Just search Queen City News on.
Go. There's something else. I've been looking at a story as well in Ireland. Did you guys see about that case in Ireland? The American? What website was it? Let me show you this. Before I go real quick. Cause of death revealed for American mom found slain in Ireland home. Cops believe person of interest fled the country. Jamie Carney, 43, was remembered by her family in an online fundraiser as, quote, insanely caring human being. She's found dead in Ireland July 7th. So, I've been kind of looking at this as well. Has anyone heard about this one? Yeah. Absolutely. Heart's untouchable. Yeah. Blessings. Missing since June 29th. Why isn't this national news? We need to take care of our soldiers. Yeah. Many times, I've got family that's military. My sister's military as well. And some of them have a hard time adjusting once they've done it for so long, So, am I free to date? Depends how many commas you got in your bank account. Just kidding. No, I'm not. You should cover Nolan's case. They found his body. Nolan. Who's Nolan? Nolan Wells, you mean? Is that who you mean? Nolan Wells? That's what that's I forgot. What state is that? Mississippi? Hey, don't tell everything. Don't tell everything on me, girl. Come on now. Nolan Wells. Yeah, I have not covered Nolan's case. There's just been Mississippi. Is that the young kid found dead outside? Nolan is Mississippi. I think his parents just spoke out or something like that. They're doing an independent autopsy on Nolan. I've been covering a lot of cases right now, and it's a lot to cover all of them, keeping up to date on all of them. So, oh my God, his wife must be so worried. She's 9 months pregnant. There's another case of a black young man being rescued from an island in Florida, left behind by his friends. Where was it? Ohio recently. Like, They were jumping off rocks or something, remember? Guys, trust the people that you go out with. Like, truly. Make sure you have a ride or die with you if you're going out like that. Seriously. Yeah, I have 14 cases written down now. Looks like I'll be adding 2 more. I can't keep up. It's a lot. Police to investigate whether cannibalism was involved in 4-year-old's death in Central Coast. See this in Australia? No, Sharon. It is, Ruby. We're getting ready to end it, though. The live stream. I've been here 3.5 hours. I was told specifically not to take HRT. You know, it's a personal decision. I'm not a doctor, but it's a very personal decision. It helps a lot of people, but there are risks. But there's risk for taking aspirin. So I find it odd that all white friends that left Nolan on the island. I don't know enough about it, but I have a really high risk of having cancer, though, Justin. Yeah. You know, I hate the word. I hate cancer. But statistically, I think it's 1 out of every 2 people. No, it's insane. He said mother is exhausted from what? I don't know what you mean, Saucy. Same case when the boy in Florida left on the island. Yeah. %, chance that have cancer hormone related, but yeah. All right, guys. Much love, everyone. Appreciate you. Everyone, get some rest. Take good care of yourselves. Really appreciate your time, guys. You guys have a ton of options here on YouTube. I really recognize that, and I really do appreciate you guys being here. Special thanks to mods, members, and chat. Really do appreciate you guys. Much love, everyone, and let's pray for these kids. They're literally fighting for their lives, and they have to work so hard to just get healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, all of that. So, you like my glasses? Thank you. Thank you so much. These are brand new. I just got them today. Even though I have another pair, you've guys seen me in these so many times. They're brand new. All right, guys. You can lift your leg. Go, Lolo. Go, Lolo. Go, girl. It's amazing. You just had surgery. Don't overdo it, though. Don't overdo it. Amen, John John. All right, guys. Love you all. Good night. Thank you, Ruby. Good night, guys.